too. So, and
Yeah,
guess what?
we are live.
We are live, dude. Welcome, ladies and
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Bill.
My pleasure. We have Kashi joining us from all the way around the world. Where are you at, Kashi?
India, Delhi.
Delhi, India.
Delhi
Fantastic.
is the
And
capital of India.
India is. I want to go there someday. You know, I love Indian food, man. I love Indian
Yeah,
food.
you got the stomach for it?
No, I don't, but I love it. I
That's the thing
remember
about India.
I was down in Los Angeles, and the guy serves me this Indian food, and I eat it, and I'm like, oh, it's so spicy. And do you know what he
You know,
says to me? You're not gonna be able to eat Indian food in Los Angeles if you think this is spicy. And I was like, no,
no Indian worth his salt will ever eat Indian food outside of India because it's not Indian food anymore. The spice is so diluted to cater to your
oh
stomach. It's no
man,
longer Indian.
I'm in
It's no
trouble.
longer Indian. Yeah,
I'm in trouble because that's
yeah.
yeah. I'll have to I'll have to have some backup plan B in India because my stomach is a little sensitive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go share this on Facebook since we're live. You can share it as
Yes.
well.
How do I do that?
So do you have another peripheral besides your phone?
I can do that. I can do
Okay.
that.
Or maybe, but and everybody share this right now so everybody can watch this live. And we're streaming this live on our Bow Wow Bill Facebook page, Bow Wow Bill Twitter, and Bow Wow Bill YouTube channel. And if you guys have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. I would appreciate that. Trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers so I can monetize it there. And then here I'm going to share this right here. I want to make sure we're live. There we are. I see you. I see me. And then I'll tag you.
Yes.
Okay, here, maybe I could
It's
tag you
pity
on
you
that.
can't monetize Facebook because I keep getting these random messages from Facebook.
They say
I
I
hit
can,
a,
but I
yeah,
don't.
I hit around 23,000 subscribers on my Facebook, and I keep getting these random messages. Hey, would you like to advertise a brand? But I'm not so sure about it because you got to hand over the controls of a Facebook to them, and
Yeah,
then you
that's
don't know
why.
what they keep advertising. Yeah.
Well, and that's why I don't want to. That's why I'm moving it to YouTube. But even on YouTube, same thing, man. They try to control every aspect of it. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, here's that. So now I go to my profile and let me tag you
Yeah, I think I can
right
see
here.
that.
Kashi. Well, it's not letting me tag you for some reason. I don't know. So even sometimes, can you see it on my profile or the Bow Wow Bill page? Are you able
I
to
can
share
see
it?
it. I can see it. I can see it. I can
Can
see
you?
that. That's because you get my name wrong. My second name, you get it wrong. That's why
When
you can't tag me.
on the?
Vishweshwar.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it wrong. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
I
It's
was
not.
so proud of my little graphic, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh no! But I made a new one, but I couldn't share it. So,
The graphics
every
is good.
everybody say hi. We got people joining us. Let us know where you're at in the
Prem.
world.
Yeah.
And then
That's
here's
Prem from
Evan.
India. Hi,
Evan was
even.
the man that was
Okay.
talking about you. You were wondering who was who gave me the information of the mighty Kashi, and that's Evan. So, how
Oh God.
long have you been working with dogs? Well, first off, what else do you do? You're also what do you do for a living?
Okay. Primarily, I'm a litigator. I've trained professionally and I'm a qualified lawyer. I practice law in the Supreme Court, which is perhaps the highest Supreme Court in last 25 years. So that's where my bread and butter comes in, and that's what feeds my indulgence, my dogs, my passion. Um, Dog training is something that I do because
Hello.
I like it. It's never about the money. Hi, Shivani. That's never about the money. In any case, in India, you can't make money with dog training. It's an unregulated industry in India, so everybody there are varying skill sets. It's very difficult to kind of have some kind of standardization. So my law background and the practice feeds off my expenses. I get into dog training because I have dogs. I need to kind of up my game in terms of my interaction with my dogs. I can't just be a parent and feed them and throw ball at them. I need to be able to kind of engage, take my engagement on a little more meaningful a standard. Um, there's something interesting I want to share now. Now that you got me thinking, with the dog training, it's always about clarity in communication. All right. If you don't have this common language, it becomes difficult to communicate with a dog. And it's something that I can actually take back to my law practice. When you represent litigating parties, it's because somewhere communication between the parties have broken down and now they're in the courtroom and you are representing these people. In order to be able to represent their interests, you need to have a clarity not in just in cognition but also in delivery of what you represent them for. So dog training is actually my foundational breeding ground for me to hone my skills as a communicator, build clarity in communication. So for me now, all right, I think about it. So dog training is not just about dog training for me. I mean, it seems to be, I learn a lot.
You know what I tell people? Do you know what I tell my clients? What does this say? First off, I love this language, but that has
okay. We are a proud eye. Yeah, I think he's writing in another dialect. I'm not familiar with this language, but it's an Indian language. Yeah, he's saying maybe perhaps hello to me.
You know what I tell my clients all the time, Kashi, is that I am the attorney for the dog. I represent the best interests of this animal. You can tell me anything you want, but at the end of the day, I am there for the dog. Right. And people will tell me the weirdest stuff. But the other thing, too, is that you've also, as an attorney, the relationship communication breaks down to a point where contempt has been formed. And now we need a third party to help us with this situation because we cannot communicate on our own.
Very active.
Right. And now this breakdown of communication.
But I can hear you.
Yeah, I could hear you. It comes and goes. And the breakdown of communication has now become the actual problem that needs to be overcome. Right?
Good training does that.
Yes. Clarity of communication. Right? And that's all that we basically are doing in what we learn. And so what started you on the journey and who did you, like, what did you start with in the dog training world?
I didn't really start with dog training because I've always been surrounded with dogs. My father's crazy about dogs. So for as long as I remember, we always had dogs. I think there's just about 1 year in my entire life that I remember that I didn't have dogs. And that's when I shifted from my birth city to where I now practice law. So I moved cities. Okay. So the first 1 year, I was, of course, a bachelor and I lived alone. I couldn't afford to keep a dog. But the second year, when I had a confirmed employment, the first thing I did was to buy a boxer. I bought this boxer of a Russian couple who were looking to sell their dog to fund their trip to Varanasi. We have this foreigners who come in and they kind of move around the entire Indian territory and they keep selling parts of what they have. So they were looking to sell their boxer pup so they could fund their travel to Varanasi. So that's how I got this dog. And the dog was with me for about 15 years. Fantastic dog. He would always tear my entire wardrobe waiting for me because back then I didn't have a concept of crate training. So I would leave the dog at my home, go to work, come back to find all my clothes scattered. But man, he was so happy to see me. So so I've always, it's me. Yeah, it's me. So it's like, do I look at the clothes or do I look at him happily? Like, look what I just redecorated the room for you. Doesn't it look interesting?
Yeah, I've been working hard all day.
Yeah, that's about it. So I've always had dogs. Yes. So I always had dogs. And so I never stopped having dogs. And now I have 9 dogs. And boy, I'm consumed by them. There's so much that I've kind of given up just to be with the dogs, but it's been worth every sacrifice. I miss so much of family obligations. I don't get to meet my family friends. But anyone having that kind of dogs, you better be prepared. You've got 8 dogs.
8 dogs. I tell people that I pay to go to work. Because that's what happens, you guys, when you have so many dogs. And a lot of times when you're a breeder, you just pick out these dogs that are special and I want to keep this dog or whatever. And then pretty soon you got 20 dogs, and I had like 14 dogs and it was just a problem. I will never have this many dogs ever again. And even my mentor, Bart and Michael, but Bart says to me, he asked me one day, he says, "How many dogs do you have?" I said 14. He's like, are are you a dog professional or are you a hobbyist? And I was like,
You're more like a dog
oh,
hoarder. You're a dog
yeah,
hoarder.
border, yeah. And I was like, you're absolutely correct, because it just it thins out the time and the energy that we have with these dogs, and sometimes I think that it's a little bit too much. But in the future, I will have one dog, maybe two, and I'm going to be doing purposeful training with them. Um, but it's also, this is what I do and what I trade my life for, and I'm very passionate about it. And it's so easy to kind of get caught up in that passion that you have to keep your wits about you, and you
True.
have to be, because also we love, and we love these dogs. We love the fulfillment that they provide us, and we have to provide that fulfillment for them as well. And sometimes when we have so many dogs, it becomes more dog that we have is less time with the dogs that we already have. It just takes away your focus from individual dogs, and so it waters it down. It waters down that attention. And so it's been a learning experience. But for me, I think that even now, I'm still getting homes to a few of my dogs that I'm going to be thinning them out. But I do have my core group of dogs, and luckily mine are really small.
But now listening to what you just said, you're right about when you have so many dogs, it kind of thins out the time that you give to your own special dogs. Maybe that's the reason why I stopped accepting commercial boarding. There was a
Yes.
time during the pandemic, I said, okay, let me kind of figure out what I can do with the time that I have. But I realized that my dogs were getting ignored with all the new dogs coming in. And new
Yes.
dogs come in with so many problems and they expect miracles in a month. You can't do that.
Well,
So I constantly admire my friends who can deliver a dog in a month. That's a skill set that I don't have. I'd like to spend time with the dog, let the dog grow at its own pace, discover what he can do, what he can't do, and then kind of maneuver him into that position rather than putting him into some kind of a fixed regimen. Here you go, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. So the important thing is that I lost track of the time that I was not able to spend with my own dog. Especially, I got some very beautiful dogs who are very willing to be trained. So now I'm back to them. So no more dogs, outside dogs for me. It's just me and my dogs. And hi, Joris.
There's
Yeah.
Eurus.
So
What's up, Eurus?
yeah.
I've done one with Eurus too. You guys check it out. So, well, and that's it, man. And not only that, but I think too that when you have these dogs that come in that are scattered and insecure that you're training, and then all of your time goes boom to them,
Yes.
it sends a mixed message to your dogs that are performing 100% every single day. They're like, why is this guy that's performing 30-20% getting all the attention when I should be the one, because I have proved myself thoroughly. And not only that, but with my herding dogs, with the cattle dogs, they're livestock dogs. They come in, they want to control a situation, and when order finally comes to that situation, it gives them peace of mind. But then all of a sudden that order goes away, and then boom, bring in another chaotic dog. Boom, another chaotic dog. Boom, another chaotic dog. And I think that might, in that dog's head, make him crazy, because the order doesn't say sustain for a long period of time, which would happen in the wild. It's just chaos, 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 in a way that is too chaotic for that particular dog. So that's the other aspect of this, is to consider the dog and their psychology and their mental welfare, and make sure that they are not being handed too much, right? And being overwhelmed, right? Kashi, I have an extra dog for you. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I do too. I have a dog for you too.
Yours. I'm a sucker for temptation, so I can never say no. Interestingly, my wife picked out a dog from a litter that I had, and she picked up the laziest, the goofiest, and the sleepiest dog, because all the dog wanted to do was just cuddle up in my arms. So she said, maybe this dog can survive inside the home, because I have no dogs inside my home. This room that I'm staying in, this is my training room. So this is not where I stay. But no dogs are allowed inside the home because my wife's allergic to dog hair. And I think she's just seeing too many dogs now. So she kind of wants her own clean environment.
Space. Right.
So, yeah, but she picked out this goofiest dog. And guess what? 3 months later, she's the craziest litter dog that I've ever had. Because all she wants to do is she just wants to attack me all the time. And she's like, what have I picked? I said, you picked a dog for me because it's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, thank you.
So, yeah,
I would say,
yeah.
oh my goodness. We got some people making political statements here, which are this says Trump's
Okay,
a
I can
cowboy
see.
on a steel horse he ride like a
He's
fat
one.
thigh.
Okay, I have no
Whatever.
idea what that means. Yeah, yeah, I have no
Yeah.
idea.
People are crazy in America right now because, well, they're crazy in America anyway because of politics, but especially now. But that's not here nor there. You know what? I could look at the dogs and tell them all this political crap, and they just look at me like, what are you talking about? And so that's why I
Where's my
don't
food?
really mind it at all.
Yeah.
Hey, look at Lair. I got
Hi, Larry.
Lola rules. So, Lola, he's talking about the Lola. Yeah, we love you, man. And I'm not just no comment politically, but this is more about the dogs. The dogs don't care. Behesha's on here too, you guys. Never
Hi,
pass up.
Besha.
Yeah, she's an amazing
Yeah. The kind
person.
of work she's done with the Mark General, that's
Yes,
amazing.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And we have so many people here. That's what I love about the audience that we have, is that it's just made up of people that are just passionate about dogs and have their hands on dogs every single day. And that's what I'm all about, man. It's also what I do. Right. And I think that it's what I find in others and what we speak about. And so, I mean, it's just a wonderful tribe, a wonderful community. And you guys, let us know in the world, comment where in the world you're watching us from. It's so cool because we got people all over the place. Ooh, Heather joining us. Heather's on vacation right now too. We're going to be chatting. Hopefully I'll be chatting with Heather on Monday. But so you started out with a boxer, right?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
but
Moved
now
on to a German Shepherd and a
okay.
Rottweiler.
Oh goodness. Okay.
Okay. And yeah. And I had them together at the same time. And I still remember the time when I met my wife. We met through common friends. And the first thing I asked her is, I hope you like dogs. Because for me, that was like you need to like dogs for me to be able to talk to you a little more than what we've been doing. And she didn't know what she was getting into. She said, yeah, I like dogs. And look where we are today. We moved city. We live on a farm with absolute basic necessities. And she's given up so much just to allow me this indulgence. She's like the kindest soul I've ever met. She does complain, and she complains quite frequently, and it's never without a reason. But she's given up a lot just for me to have a life where I live with my dogs. And I rarely move around because I live in a fairly decently big place. I mean, 5 acres is not very big, but it's big for me and my dogs. And she likes swimming. So I tempted her, saying that I will build you the biggest swimming pool if you move with me to the farm. And now she says, I know you all the time. You did this for your dogs, and it's never about me. So she knows what I'm doing. She can see through me, but she kind of ignores it. She lets me live my life. We all need someone who's not into dogs as a partner to be able to support you of your passion, because you can't make fun of someone's passion. That's the only thing that keeps them sane in a very competitive world.
Yeah.
So I never make fun of someone who says, look, I love this. I said, yeah, that's your balancing factor. You need that balance in life. Others, in the rat race, we're all just rats.
Well, and it's also there's something that drives you, right? There's something intrinsic, and this is me. I mean, this was ever since I was little boy here, I think 8 years old, or
yeah.
in that, and
what dog is that?
Golden Retriever.
Yeah, look like it.
Yeah, one of my first dogs, and I and I've had this feeling ever since I was a child of looking at these dogs and just like being just in awe and wondering what's going on in their mind. Oh, Teresa's here. She's at a wedding, but she was able to catch us. And then, and I've had this, and that's what I tell my clients' kids, when I'm working with them. I'm like, listen, pay attention to the things that make you happy, the things that motivate you, the things that interest you. Pay attention to them, because even as an adult, like the world around me has grown up, and I have changed. I've grown this big red beard, and lots of stuff that if I were to show a picture of myself now to him, you know, and I think that he would be awesome. Look at you, and also we work with dogs in the future. I work with dogs like that. I know as a younger child, I would be so excited. And so like as children, and sometimes I even see with dogs, like the child has more talent than some of my colleagues. Like, so the children of my clients, they have something that they're communicating with this animal. They're forming this relationship on their own, and they're
I think
successful at it.
it was either Michael or Bart who said that children make the best trainers because they just let the dog develop into their own. And they have a different connect with puppies, and these puppies turn out to be more resilient, more exploration based, rather than professional trainers who kind of helicopter over their puppies, like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Kids can allow a puppy to just become a beautiful dog if you let the kid have a dog.
Yes. Well, they're like, what is the dog doing now? Oh, wow. What is the dog doing now? Oh, wow. They
Now,
follow them around, and oh, he tripped over that. Ha ha. And it's a fun. But I think the juvenile energy is a little different, as we get older. And that's what I tell people, like, especially with their puppies. I'm like, get them around other puppies. Like, get a kids around adults. When we were kids, we would go and run and play tag and wrestle and very physical, go and hide and very energetic. And as adults, we sit and we drink coffee. And I remember as a kid when we would hang out with the adults, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so boring. Like, this is too boring. I don't like that. Like, but as kids, when we get around other kids, and sometimes the adult is like, I can't handle this. It's too much,
yeah,
right? And so the juvenile energy of that kid, I think, really, really has a corresponding effect with the juvenile energy of that animal, right? And they can also, it's such a good opportunity to teach the kid life lessons on how to be a leader, how to stay calm, how to handle conflict, right? And also it switches the mirror and allows switches the lens. Go on. And allows for, my wife is getting ready to leave here, so the dogs might be running around. Allows for the child to see when the dog does not listen and the conflict happens, not just how to overcome that, but also it gives the parent a great opportunity to let the child know, how does this feel when the dog doesn't listen? Now you know how I feel when you don't listen. Right?
interesting. Yeah.
Introspection, and so many wonderful things that this child so many opportunities that this dog can give the child to learn about themselves, right?
Yeah,
And
that's interesting.
we just step away and let that happen, and that's it. And one thing that I like, what my, and Bart has stopped me. He's like, Bill, stop. Let the dog do whatever the dog's going to do. Don't get in there and try to control anything. Just stop and let it expand, and let that behavior expand into the space that we're allowing this dog, and just let the
So,
dog do.
so like everyone's expecting Bart to do magic with the new pup, and Bart is just letting the pup be a pup. I mean, that's basic lessons taught so delicately. Anybody else would have probably started pushing the pup into a lot of heel, hold, blah 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 blah. He's just letting a pup be a pup, and that's something that we all aspiring dog trainers must pick up from. There is time for play. There's time for work.
And there's
So
time for
never.
observation,
Yes,
and
yes, yes,
let the dog do, let the
yes.
dog, and then also just to take mental note
True,
and be like, ooh, that dog likes to really run and grab that with his mouth. The dog really, really likes to use his nose,
true,
right? The
true.
dog really, really likes to be pushy, tug. The dog is likes to crawl around. I don't know. There's so many different that likes to dig in the holes, go into a tunnel. And we just take mental notes. And now we know that, each individual dog, that they have wants and desires, right? I'm an individual, you're an individual. We can't just cookie cutter the things that I like and overlay them on you, because we are different. And you, as an individual, your thoughts, your feelings and your wants and desires are valid, and they're important, and they should be fulfilled. But we have to figure what those are first, right?
So when I had the litter, I used to maintain a journal, what each puppy did. So I knew how each puppy would turn out. At least for some extent, I knew how they would turn out. So I would make detailed notes. And then I would pass it on to the buyers. I said, look, this, your puppy did this, your puppy did this, and your puppy didn't do this.
Love it.
I had a ready reckoner. So for me, it was interesting to make observations and to kind of understand where is this puppy going to go if it goes into the right hands. So I kept a puppy back.
You did.
And this puppy loves nose work. In fact, this puppy was scheduled to go to a client, but the puppy was doing so well. I literally begged the client, like, can I please have her back?
Really?
And that client sold the puppy back to me.
And you still have it, huh?
Yeah. So that's a puppy right next to me right now.
Okay.
Of course, we struck a deal. She'll probably take a puppy from the next litter, but I kind of like, can I please have this puppy? Can I please have this puppy?
Yeah,
she said, yeah, you can have it.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. Your farm is excellent. We have people from, we have Carrie Cook. So Carrie Cook, you guys, has this thing called a spleesh. It is, here, let me
I can't see the comments. Yeah.
So. You can or cannot?
I can't. That's okay. I can only see what you pop up. This Carrie Cook.
Okay, good. Yeah,
I can see him. That's it.
Yeah, but I have to do, so I'm going to share the screen really quick, you guys, because we have to we have to show this, the product here.
What is this?
So this is a spleesh. And basically what this is, hey, will you do me a favor and just put them out in the barn for me? Is basically what it is it's a handle that you clip onto your leash here, and it's a big device, but it has this it holds water, and
I can see that.
It has this little thing that folds down, and then you spray it with water, and this thing will fill up with water, and then the dog can lick out of that dish. But it also, because it has the spray on it, if you have any dog that comes up or anything, you can spray them as a deterrent. If you have like some stuff on the dog's paws or whatever, you can spray that thing out. It's very, this is what's so wonderful about innovation, not just with, it's fine if you're not. That we can take in what's in our mind and run with it, and so she had this idea, she's running with it. You guys check it out. Spleesh. It's like leash with the SP. So splash, like splash with leash. So spleesh. Okay. So check this out, you guys. That's Carrie Cook. She is the inventor of the spleesh. I'm going to have her on one of these conversations.
How many ounces of water does it hold?
Let us know, Carrie. But here, let me see if I can put it up here. And let's see. I'll go through and let's see what the facts say. How do I spleesh my leash? So this leash goes in there, and then it just kind of clips right in there. Oops. There's like a little wheel that locks in. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And so that's your leash. And it also has a little handle, and then there's a little
that's
splash.
Very nice.
Isn't that cool?
It's an awesome tool during summers, You just quickly hydrate your dog. Psst, psst, psst.
Yep, absolutely. And how do I do with the leash? How tough it? So they're running it over with a car. Look at that.
Okay.
So they run it over with a car. So how much water? 12 ounces. So not a crazy amount, but still it's
good enough. Yeah, good enough. It's life-saving.
That's right. Absolutely. Or it just like allows the dog to be more comfortable too. So there you go. So check out the spleesh, you guys. I believe that she has some available if you're interested. And I'll have her on here. So we have Samir from India.
Samir, yeah. Hi,
And then we
Samir.
have Lola from the East Coast, Mumbai. Frequent
Shivani, yeah.
conversation. Thank you. Your farm is excellent. And I have
Prosenjit,
5.5 acres here myself, so I'm about the same size. And there's
yeah. But you know,
Teresa.
I have a vertical farm. You know, it's really long.
Oh,
It's
is it?
not proportionate. Yeah, it's not proportionate. Which is what makes for excellent run. So I run with my dogs. I cycle with them. I got this nice little road, so I can cycle with them.
Awesome.
Vivek, hi Vivek, yeah, Kumar. All my
Kumar.
friends from India. Yeah, we've got like this excellent, supportive, a small setup. You know, India doesn't have too many dog trainers. It doesn't have too many dog trainers, and what we have is very tight circuit. Equally supportive of each other. They look out for each other, and we've got some very good. I mean, we've got India has in a very short span of times got about 5 to 7 PSA2 competitors ready. We've got 2 IGP competitors.
Love it.
So yeah, and it's a very short span. India doesn't have a sports structure in terms of dog training. So everything these guys do, they rough it out.
Well, and not only that, but I think that once people see the utility aspect and how they can utilize a dog, especially for protection, right?
Yes,
That brings a whole other level of value to
true.
that relationship, right? And a lot of times people just don't know. They're like, oh my goodness, I did not know that this dog was capable, or that people could train dogs to help them with this, right? Not only do dogs dream as they sleep, scientists think they dream similarly to us and replay moments from their day. You can tell a dog is dreaming, twitching their legs, or bark.
Oh,
Yep. Very interesting.
it's
And we
interesting
have
because I would wake my dog up when I see them twitching because like I don't know what's happening. I think wake up, wake up, wake up.
they're having a dream, and now
Yeah, yeah,
they're running
yeah,
after this, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm
yeah,
right here, wake up. And then
yeah.
dogs don't feel guilt. They're more
Guilt.
likely the behavior owners associate with the dog's guilt or the reaction of
That's true.
being
That's true.
scolded.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, same thing too
Yeah,
with
yeah.
dogs acting normally, and then people say, oh, I think my dog was beat, and the dog
Do
might
dogs
cower,
do
or
dogs
whatever.
feel jealous? Do they
I
feel
think
jealousy?
I think so. I do,
How how
absolutely.
how how do you think they process jealousy as an emotion?
Well, I think that it's a more possessiveness, right?
Yes.
And not only that, but worthiness too. Like if there's another dog that might outrank them or be lower ranked than them in their eyes, and this dog is getting affection, they're going to stop that, or they're going to be like, no, 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 that doesn't belong to you. That belongs to me, right? So there could be a possessive over the person, but also an object, an item too, right? The things that dogs are going to fight over are food, toys, affection. Those are the three where they fight with each other, right?
But it wouldn't fall in the definition of jealous, would it?
I mean, it wouldn't for us. I mean, as far as we know, because we will like stew and really get down into these jealousy holes, right? And it becomes from lack, where I think that it's very moment with the dog, and it's more about not just jealousy, but more about excitement and possessive, and wanting to possess the toy of the hour, or whatever it is that is giving that dog that arousal at that moment, right? What do you
Hmm.
think?
No, I was just trying to see if I have an opinion, but I think I'll take some time because sometimes I've always had difficulty accepting that dogs can be jealous because I didn't know that they're capable of so many emotions at that many level. You kind of touch the broad aspect when you say possessiveness, but then I've also seen dogs. How do you ease off jealousy? How do you tell a dog, okay, don't be jealous anymore?
You recognize the thresholds and what it is and how close it is before they start really, the arousal becomes apparent, right? And once the arousal becomes a little bit too much, then that's when we start to back it up, or we're looking at thresholds. We're looking at how close, and then once we recognize the threshold, we're going to be working on decreasing that threshold. And so the
Yeah,
dog gets
but I think every time a dog, let's say, lunges at another dog,
mm,
claiming possessiveness over the owner, and we kind of separate them and we kind of go back to the first dog, the alpha dog, and reassure the dog, are we not reinforcing the same display of aggression
Well, and the
in
other thing
possession?
too, not just possessiveness, but I think that with the leash on the dog, right, it inhibits the dog's movement. And that in effect will evoke a fight or flight response as well, because the dog's movement is not freely. The dog
Hmm.
is inhibited. And sometimes the inhibition of the dog's free will to enact the behavior that they choose might invoke this response itself. Right. So I
Okay.
think the tool itself might be a big variable.
Contribute.
Right.
Yeah.
Big variable
Contributing
in this.
factor.
Right. And we have to look at it from, and I tell people, let's get into the airplane, 30,000 feet right away. Let's go up there and look at this situation from up here, objective, and look at everything. And just like you say, like, I'm not ready to form my answer yet. I'm still gathering
Yeah.
my grammar, right? I'm taking my grammar, I'm putting it all together, and so then I can do logic, where I can compare my experiences, but also compare the grammar or any logical fallacies that might have made their way into my brain, and fleshing it out, fleshing it out, fleshing it out. And we call it an apathetic approach, meaning that this does not belong. No, that doesn't belong. That doesn't, fleshing it out, taking it away, right? And so what remains is more about the truth, right? And so when we start to look at the variables, take the objective view of a situation, and then we can start to thin slice it, get it down to the truth, right? And a lot of times people, especially as professionals, people don't want the truth. You know why?
Tell me.
Because the way that they perceive it is going to be destroyed a lot of times, because they see the potential of it instead of what it really is, or they see something that they've labeled it as something that a lot of times will make them feel a little bit better, right? And the dog suffers with that, because the dog is not fulfilled. The dog is reacting. The dog needs work in this environment, right? And it's obvious because the dog is behaving in such a way that is doubts, fears, anxieties, right? And so that's where we come in as professionals, not just to be an advocate for the dog, but to tell the person, the human being, the truth. And we owe that to them, you know. And sometimes it's very hard because they don't see what's right in front of them, or they have a belief that this is happening because of this certain thing, and it's completely wrong. Does it make sense?
Makes sense, but then you aren't professional anymore. If you're going to disguise the truth, you aren't professional anymore. You're now playing to the gallery. You're doing what's best for you and not best for the dog. And
That's
again,
right.
the dog suffers.
That's right. Because you want to placate a human being.
Yes.
Right. And that's it. It's like, that's where I say, no, you can tell me whatever you want. I represent the dog at the end of the day.
True. Your
Right?
client is a dog. Someone's paying
My
the bill,
client's
but
the
your
dog.
dog.
Yep.
Dog.
Yep. And we're interspecies communication, right? So we are human beings. So we can communicate with human beings. We can sell them, and people are really good at selling other people. But at the end of the day, that's not the person that I'm very interested. The person is not what I'm interested in. I mean, I'm interested in the person having an understanding of how to bring clarity to the communication, as we were speaking about earlier. But I represent that animal, and I want to see this dog. I want to see the weight of the world come off this dog's shoulders. I want to see the dog be a dog. And a lot of times too, I have to remind the people the dog's not being bad. The dog's being a dog. He just has gusto. He has energy. He has a very, very, big way of showing you that he loves, or his presence, or whatever it is. And we just need to put some structure in that's going to allow the dog to be fulfilled, but at the same time for us to understand and be fulfilled with the relationship as well. Okay, that's so cool.
How do you reconcile when people's expectations are not met by dogs' performances? As a trainer, how do you break it down to them?
Well, first off, I have to see if the client's expectations are real, and if they're not pie in the sky, if they are just dreaming, right? And a lot of times with service dogs, we get that. Like they want to have the dogs be a service dog. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way
Yeah,
this
too much,
dog, like
too much
too much for
energy.
the, yeah, too much for this dog. And they have to realize too, is that the dogs, they get dropped from a program when they start to show the type of behavior that is not going to be correlative or make them good at this, right? And same thing with human being. Like there's some things that I tell people, like, especially I say, you're a lawyer, but tomorrow you're a brain surgeon.
Ah.
Imagine you standing there in front of the brain and everybody looking
Hello,
at you
hello.
like everybody, like, you fix the problem, you're going to fix the problem, and you're like, oh, like that's what I compare it to. Is like you're giving the dog a role, or you're putting the dog in a position that they have no business being in. In fact, it
Yeah.
is so intimidating for this animal that it invokes this doubts, fears, anxiety constantly. And so I'm going to take away this position and give the dog a position that's much more suitable for their temperament. And then you can see the dog go, oh, I love you.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. I love you. I don't ever want to do that again. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. So I'm reminded back to my own dog, which my wife, she picked up this dog I was telling you earlier, and she said, "Oh, this can be a nice therapy dog because all he wanted was hugs." It's a she. So all she wanted was hugs, and now all she wants to do is scratch your ass off. So, so I was just like, yeah. Hi, Mira. Would it be possible to share the pic? Okay, I think she's talking about your
Yes, please. Oh, yeah, I'll do that right now. Thank you very much. I absolutely will share this right now in the comment section. And I have to put in the comments. I'm going to put down below, you guys, if you like what I do, check me out on Patreon. Well, I have a Patreon page. Like and I want to do this full time. I want to go to India and I want to see Kashi. And I want to meet his dogs. I want to meet him. I want to eat some food to see, but it might be, we'll see what happens. But
you will find India not just fascinating because when you come to India, the first thing you're going to notice is that there are dogs everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's in our culture. Yeah. Dogs have always had very ambivalent roles in the Indian society. Dogs, apart from just being a companion dogs of the human, they've also been escorts of gods. So we've got like at least 10, 15 gods in the Hindu religion where dogs are a part of their personality. Like the god of death is also represented by a dog.
Is that Shiva?
In fact,
no, that's
Yama. That's Yama. That's Yama.
Okay, Yama.
So one of Shiva's reincarnations is also a dog. That's a black dog, Bhairav. So on a particular day of the week, I think it's a Monday, I'm not very sure. If you have a black dog walking around near the temples, people would come to touch the dog. Now that's black dog.
Already, I'm just like blown away.
All right. So on a like when I would walk my Rottweiler, and I think it was Monday, I'm not very sure. When I would walk my Rottweilers, people would come and say, just touch him. Just he was like constantly being touched. Because when I would say, please stay away, I would be the villain because they would be just coming off the temple and they would consider it as a good omen to see a black dog. Now there are also stories. Okay, now you got me talking. Now there are also stories that gods would come in the disguise of white dogs to test your charitable intentions if you were keen on doing charity. So the whole test is that would you feed a dog? White dogs. Okay, and dogs have also enjoyed the status of being the lowest animal. So if I want to curse you, I would curse you to live a dog's life. So you see, it depends on the culture that you come from as to where you see the dog. You have people who want to touch a black dog on a particular day. You also have people cursing you to lead a dog's life. We've had stories where the last good person, that's Yudhishthir, had to walk to the gates of the heaven, and he refused to enter the gates of heaven unless he was accompanied by his dog. So we have these beautiful stories where dogs have always been an integral part of the Indian culture. So that's the reason why you will see dogs everywhere. And, we are kind towards dogs. So I will have a dog in my home. I will also have a dog on the street. I would feed them. I would not be responsible, but I would feed him.
Isn't there a karmic aspect of it too, of feeding the animal?
Yes, because India 70% of the Indian population has an agrarian lifestyle. So we're constantly dependent on cattle, and dogs have always been a part of cattle wherever you have
Of
cattle,
course.
goats.
Yes.
So animals have always been a part of us. It could be you move to the city, you have dogs, but if you go back to the village, you have cows, you have buffaloes, you have dogs, you have sheep. So
Livestock.
yeah, livestock. So, but dogs have always been there around us.
Well, and it's
So
been
that's
argued that
that's
like we
yes,
wouldn't even be where we are as far as the civilization without the help of our dogs, because they have taken us from a pastoral, or excuse me, from a nomadic civilization, traveling around
true,
and moving all
true,
the time, to where we could actually set up in a pastoral horticultural environment where we actually stay in one place. The dog provides the guarding, alert us if there's an intruder, the herding aspect of the livestock, controlling the livestock. And now, instead of 3-4 cows, I can have 200 cows because I have the help of my 5-6 dogs, right? And they provide us companionship, they provide us so much more. And that's it's integral. In fact, I think that it's also very interesting here in America, or in English, that God, and then we take the reciprocal, or the backwards, or and then we
dog.
have dog, right? And so there's something there as well,
True, true, true,
right?
true,
and and
true, true.
and those that are spiritually aware, I mean, they say that the spiritually aware suffer more because they are more aware, and they take value of that, right? And so, and even looking at the struggle of the dog, and how it lives in the streets, and the dogs will eat shit, they'll eat anything sometimes, and so that right there it seems like it's not very a good existence. And so I can kind of see how people might look at that as an insult, right? As mangy mutt, or stinky,
True.
dirty, like foul. But it's also dogs that have helped us by consuming some of our trash, right? And being by the dump sites. And that's where a lot of times the theory of the dogs, how they came up to be partners with the human being, hanging around the trash sites, and being able to the nice dog that would go and seek food actually became the dog that would seek pet. And then and then we had a relationship, and then they had puppies, and then those puppies were a little bit nicer because of the genetic profile.
Domestication.
Right, exactly. And then the domestication happens that way, right? And
True.
and so it's a very big story. But then we also have the dog and the genetics. They have this gutter that is very long. That's how we can have a genetic code of a dog that is very same species but looks very, very different, and I find that fascinating as well. It's a vast variety of species or the breeds of dogs, the same species but different, and some of them look very different, from Dachshund all the way up to Irish Wolfhound, right? And
Oh yeah,
everything in
it's
between.
beautiful. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Irish Wolfhounds are beautiful, really tall dogs.
Yeah, here, let's look at some of this. So would it be, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. I put the comment down for the spleesh, and I also put the link down to the Patreon. 12 ounces. We have somebody in Canada.
Iris, yes,
Dogs.
Iris. Yeah.
Yeah, there's Iris.
Yeah.
Dogs are capable of learning the same amount of words and commands a 2-year-old child. Absolutely. Actually, they've found that some dogs are way above that. We have dogs that are 2,000 commands. A collie. We have Northwest Arkansas. I can't talk. Now dog training is a new adventure in India. Fantastic. I can't wait to come to India, man. I love the culture. I've studied like even before, like ancient civilizations, all the way back to Babylon and Sumeria and the Fertile Crescent, and then moving over to the
Even the Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, the Indian civilizations, there are records of graves being dug up where they found dogs being buried next to, with collars, everything on. So dogs, Indian culture has a lot of dog history right up to the Indus civilizations. You'll probably find, I'm sure you'll find images of dogs carved on temples.
And
there is in fact a temple somewhere in northern India where dogs are allowed inside the temple.
Let's go there when I come.
Yeah.
Well, I believe in reincarnation. I do believe that I've worked with dogs. I believe that I've lived many lives in this plane of existence, and I believe that I have cell memory of working with dogs in my previous lives. And there's a reason why, we're seeded with the desire to work with these animals, right? And I know that because it's something that, as I was saying, I knew this since I was a kid. I knew I wanted to work with dogs ever since I came into this human form, right? We have hi, going through the comments. What's normal for a dog is not normal for a human. That's right.
True.
I don't
That's
sniff.
right.
I don't sniff people's butts.
But
Whatever
when
you're into,
but when you do, but when you do, you're really interested.
Yeah. That's the truth. I love Ruben's comments that have been amazing. And I want to show you some of the video, or I want to put some of the videos that you've sent me, and also just talk about what you're doing. And they see it as not belonging to the pack. That's right. Great advice. It can also be associated in terms of resources and attention. Yes. So possessiveness doesn't have to be like I have this. It's like it's not only resources, attention, but it's time. That moment, right? That moment in the dogs, we have limbic resonance with these dogs, meaning that our limbic system, we have that too, but we as human beings have the prefrontal or neocortex, this new cortex, outer buffer of our brain that allows so many more capabilities with our thought process, right? And so
in fact, Mira's specialty is dealing with aggression dogs.
Oh, fantastic.
She's one of those few girls. Yeah, few girls in India who does aggression dogs.
Beautiful.
It's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, and Mira, you ever need any help or need to discuss any cases, like we're all here for you. And that's what I want to tell people. Like we cooperate together, because at the end of the day, we're in this for the dogs. And so if there's anything I can do to help, and especially with those aggression cases, you really have to remain focused and remain in that moment. And the number one thing that people do is they anthropomorphize, or they put human characteristics on the animal, True. Right? Which I understand is natural for me.
As a pet parent, it's very normal. I mean,
totally normal.
Takes, when you break it to them that your dog is an opportunistic animal, it's like you said something very wrong. How can you call my dog an opportunistic animal? He's my son. He's my kid. And people who accept that, it becomes easier to talk to them. So that's like your break point. Do you accept it or reject it?
That's right. Truth
I know many people. Yeah. Truth hurts. Truth.
You know many people that what?
I said I know many people who probably refuse to consult anymore when you start with this line. Yeah. They're like, all right. Thank you for this advice, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Do
you know what I was saying about people refuse to see the truth, right?
Yes.
That's a perfect example of it. They have their belief. Their belief is that this furry child
is an extension of me.
Is an extension of me. And 85% is good, and this one part I need to fix. That's it. I just need to polish up this one part. And then you come in there and be like, no. This one part is a leaf. We don't want to strike and cut leaves. I want to get down to the root. We need to get to the root here. I don't want to, because if I strap a leaf, guess what? 3 more leaves will show up in that place, right? And so I'm not interested in pruning leaves. I want to get to the root of the problem, and so we can fix this for life and get this addressed in a way that is real and that is truthful, right? And that's what we owe as a professional. And as soon as you take money, you not only your diagnostics being sought, but now you are being compensated for it. You absolutely owe them the truth, no matter how bad it hurts, right? And that's it. That's just basically it. Let me see here. Do you guys think dogs can hold a grudge?
Okay. I'd like to hear what Bill says.
I've heard some handlers, not trainers, say that they find it hard to wrap my mind around. Not in a grudge that we think. I think that dogs remember, and dogs
they remember it qua a stimulus. They always remember it qua stimulus. You present the stimulus, the so-called grudge resurfaces.
Right, but it's not necessarily the grudge. It's more about muscle and thought memory, and then
Memory.
and then coming back to what they think they need to respond to this. And if it was something that was um, maybe a consequence the dog wasn't expecting, and it was something that uh, was viewed as a punisher, maybe that dog we might think that they're holding a grudge, but they're just being cautious. Right. And I think that cautious demeanor can be interpreted as a grudge, even if that cautious demeanor is attacking, like it's a defensive drive. Now we're in defense, get this away or whatever, or I want that and I want to take it away. But yeah, I mean, there's many different situations that we can kind of thin slice and get into. But I think that it's more about the dog reacting on previous pattern of stimulus and just being perceived as human being. And what I was going to say is it's easy for us to overlay our own perception on something because it's just how we view the world. And so it's understandable and it's natural, I think, to overview our own view to make something more digestible and easy to understand. But when we do that to an animal that is not capable of these thought processes that we have, and we start to interpret their behavior in a human lens, I think that's a disservice. And so what we have to do is essentially become the dog by proxy and look through the world through the dog's eyes. And how we do that is we understand the thought process of the dog, social structure of the dog, and then we realize that we only have the moment. We truly have the moment. And the moment that is unfolding in front of that dog's eyes forms this pattern. The pattern constructs the neural connections in that dog's mind and forms what we call a comfort zone.
How do you step into a dog's shoes without being educated?
What's that?
How do you step into a dog's shoes when you're not educated?
1 to 3 seconds. That's in the moment. And that's what beautiful thing about the dog is that it teaches how to live in the moment. Right? And a lot of people, they don't realize it, but they live their life in the past. By living with regret, living with guilt, living with all this shame that they bring and they carry around in their life. That's them reflecting in the past the things that they've done or wish they would have done, and they regret it. And so they carry it with them to this day. Same thing with fear, doubts, anxiety. That's the future, bringing it to future and bringing it now, but it's the future hasn't unfolded yet. So we are actually creating a psychosomatic response that isn't good for us based on the fear that we have of the future, right?
Okay. No. You said something interesting. I want to explore that. When you say dogs live for the moment or live in the moment, yes. I get that. I think most of the dogs' lives resonate with that thought process. How do you explain when a dog buries and hides his food for the next day? Is he living in the moment, or is he preparing for the next moment?
I think that has to do with the survival mechanism, and it is preparing for the next moment by valuing this moment, right? Okay. And not only that, but I think that there's something tied to the olfactory sense with that dog. And it's like almost like a security deposit box, right? Where this dog can lock in, ooh, I got something valuable here. Let me take this away. And some dogs are much more prone to do this than others, right? And some dogs are, and I think too, where you'll see in India, and honestly, Kashi, I want to come there and just watch dogs. Like, I just want to sit on a corner and just watch a group of dogs, man.
You can sit in any corner, you'll see dogs.
I love it. And just watch what they do and how they unfold and how they, because there's dogs that innovate. There's dogs that figure stuff out, and it's about pattern recognition, right? And to tell you the truth, I don't know. Like, I can't explain why a dog would bury and go and find it, because they do live in that moment. But I think that there has to be like a safe deposit box of memory in the dog's bank, in the brain bank here. So when the dog does go and take a piece of this, and it's not that much, but it's enough that can fit into the safety deposit box, right? That the dog takes, and let me go and store this away. And when they store it away, it actually forms that memory tied to that moment where that dog can hold on to that. But I don't know how long this memory will last, because I've seen dogs bury, and then forget. You know, I go out to the field, and then it might be that they don't have the value, or also I think that it also has to do because I have multiple dogs here.
No, then we have to ask ourselves, if a dog buries his food and never goes back, why would a dog do what a dog does? If it was not for living in the moment, if it was not doing a security deposit. Yeah, but how is he bettering situation by hiding and not going back?
That's right. That's a great question. I don't know. You know, I don't know. And all this stuff, I'm just kind of thinking stream of consciousness. Hey. So, you're leaving? Oh, my wife's leaving. Bye. Okay. She's got to go help out the neighbor here. But yeah, I don't know. And that's why I'm so fascinated by these dogs. You know, same thing too, like when dog, I have this dog that is always licking this other dog's mouth. And ever since she was a puppy, and this dog is now 18 years old. I have a dog here, 18 years old. The other dog's 5 years old.
Wow.
You know, lucky. And ever since she's a puppy, always licking this dog's mouth, always licking. And the dog hates it when she does it. The dog, knock it off. And she always has done it. And I've always been intrigued. Why? Is it respect? Is it nuisance? What is this dog doing? You know, and I don't know. But I find it very interesting, you know, all interesting stuff. But this is what fuels us, you know, the why. Why is this happening? The why behind all this stuff, right? But the why is our power. And truly, we're never really going to know why unless we become that dog, right? And we can't really, we have to just contemplate right now, because we can't. But the dog
once
is our
you have the answers. Yeah, but once you have the answers, it's so much more fascinating to see how we can use that information to manipulate the dogs now. Yes. I tell people that there is nothing called training the dog. You're just intervening in a canine behavior, and that's why it's canine intervention. It's not training. You unless you manipulate, it's never training. Otherwise, a dog just wants to lick his own ass. If you want to tell him not to lick his own ass, well, you're now training a dog not to lick his own ass.
Well, you know why they say, you know why a dog licks his own ass?
No, tell me.
Because he can.
Do I sense some jealousy? Do I sense some jealousy there?
I don't know. You'd be like, I'd never leave the house. No.
You're the most happiest guy at home. Okay, who's this?
Yeah, totally. He's a happy guy, but his breath is horrible. Akita tops list of most difficult breeds to train because strong wheels, stubborn nature. Oh, you better believe it, man. Akitas are no joke, dude. Other notorious hard to train dogs: Chow Chow, Sharpei,
True.
Alaska
Rottweiler
and Rottweiler. I've trained a lot of Rottweilers, but I can see how they can be a little stubborn, right? 8 ounces empty is the spleesh. Oh, this is kind of cool. The average city dog lives 3 years longer than a country dog. No one knows the reason. Probably resources. I don't know if that's
that's the city dog has access to so many of medical. There's so much of medical intervention in prolonging a dog's life in a city. Okay. You just pump up the dog with medication long enough for him to survive another 3 years.
Now PPL will go buy black dog. Now people go buy black dog.
People,
and you know that there's in America there's a thing called black dog syndrome. You know that? There's a black dog.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know.
The black dog means the last dog is the last to be adopted because people don't like.
I've heard this.
they say that when people take pictures of the dogs, that they actually want to take and put a bright background with the black dog, like make them
So
so
it's
you can see them,
softer,
you know,
softer.
yeah, softer, you know. But he wants to know, is that a Rashtapel
Is there a
Harshit?
thigh ridgeback in a profile picture? He's talking about you.
No, I don't
I don't
think
have
it's
a thigh
me.
ridgeback.
I don't think do I have a profile? My profile picture is my wife. Oh, and my she's not. She's Irish. She's Irish, but she is a ridgeback. She definitely knows. I know when her hackles go up that I'm in big trouble. No, just kidding.
You're gonna be banned.
I know. Good thing she left because I'd be in trouble right now. In South, people are buying black and
Delete
Durand
this
Mali.
stream.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Dogs are great helpers.
yeah.
Absolutely. Oh man, we got a lot of comments I'm going to get through here. What about other days of the
Saying
week,
hi.
sir? What about other days of the week, sir? Dutch Shepherd. Let's see here. Luckily, I have all colors of dogs. Me too. I missed. What's up, guys? Ooh, Joe Hodge. He's that's just the gummies, Bill. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about, Larry, but it absolutely is. I met my ex-husband. We're totally getting beyond what I don't even know. So let's see here. In Nepal, there's 5-day festivals dedicated.
Yes.
Ooh, I would
Yes.
love that because I see that they put
You
the
should. You
powders
should.
all over
Yeah.
the dogs. Oh, I
Oh,
love
that's a
that.
beautiful festival. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a neighboring
I
city.
definitely.
So
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Mira, Thora can't sleep tonight.
So
Get
translate.
loads of
Get some back.
messages. If Bill talks to Indian clients, he'll need an old monk to
Monk
recover.
to recover.
What's that? I don't know. Old
Old
monk.
monk is a liquor. Old monk is a
Oh,
liquor.
I don't drink.
Yeah.
I don't drink. I tell people, don't. Why drink and drive when you can smoke and
Can.
fly? That's what I say. So I don't know about cannabis in India, but hard dogs will remember. And it say you should never punish a puppy for chewing. Be sure to provide
Chewing.
appropriate objects. Puppies need to chew, absolutely, and especially around 5 months, they start to lose those teeth and that maxillofacial growth, and you're going to see an acceleration of that chewing and the mouthiness that puppies have. So, I mean, you can punish a puppy if they are being a little bit too much, but you can also channel it to something that is might correlate with a job that the dog might do. So important that you can teach a dog to sit, stay on command anytime there's behavioral problems with your dogs. Could reattach them. Yep. I call those like rooting down a comment or rooting down a command with something that the dog knows, especially if we're working on abstract ideas and this dog starts to get off into the weeds, doesn't know what we're doing. We can root them down with something that they know and maybe step the abstract stuff a little bit slower. Thanks, Iris. You're very welcome. And we're still thinking about like the jealousy and that's the stuff that it's always a conversation. It's always going on because it's something that is important, but I don't know if we're ever going to get to the bottom of it. I remember that you shared about married dog people in the past. Very many dog people in the past. Okay. That comes with experiences. Puppies see older dogs, the different things day by day. Yep. We call that model behavior. Why does a dog do what he does?
What it does.
It's to better their situation, right? The dog does to better their situation. So how about when they anticipate your movements? Right? Yeah, absolutely. So dogs, and you know what I tell people, man, like dogs are watching us 24/7, dude. They're watching us, and they're watching.
They're always learning. They're always learning.
And they're looking for the patterns. And if you don't think that your dog has learned a pattern of behavior, go put your shoes on. Go put your shoes on, go put your coat on, and go grab your car keys. And go look at your dog, what they do. Yeah. Yeah, we're going. Or go grab that leash. And grab the spleesh when you grab the leash too. So to survive periods of scarcity, wild ancestors of modern dogs buried leftover meat. Right.
Okay, we got some answers.
It's called caching. Right. And so that's like the cache in the brain too. That's where like security deposit box. That's how I think about it. Right.
So when they don't go back, they're just giving into their impulses, which is a genetic impulse. Yeah. And they probably just don't feel the need to go back because back in the city, they're still being given food.
Yeah.
So
Well, the
they do,
resource.
they do, yeah, they
Yeah.
do what the genetics tell them to do, but it's just not reinforced.
Well, and there's some dogs that do it more than others, and I think that some
Ah,
dogs might have a, like it becomes like a ritualistic kind of thing too, right?
true,
Because
true,
maybe
true.
they've eaten 60% of their food, 40% they take and put away, and then there was a one time that they utilize that.
How
It
would you
sticks
how
with them
would you
forever.
deal with such a situation where every time you feed and the dog goes back and hides 40%?
I
Is
would
it
take
something
that
that you
fight.
would?
I would take the hide. I would take the hide away. I'd be like, this doesn't work. This is
Okay.
not. I would do the antithesis. So I want to look at why the dog does, what the dog is trying to get out of this, and I'm going to introduce the antithesis. So if you think that this is going to be here and I would take the dog and put him back in that yard to show him this is gone. You buried it
Ah,
in a place that somebody else came and stole it.
swallowed.
Yeah, it's
So
gone.
would you remove the food in his presence or
No,
just let him discover it that is
discover
gone?
it. I don't want to be associated with it. I don't want anything to. I don't want the dog because the dog is going to be like, oh, he took it, right, or whatever. So I don't. I want the dog to come out and discover that it's gone, and
Ah, that's interesting.
let the dog just know that, because I just don't want to be associated with that. Same thing too. Like if I want the dog to find or stumble upon a reward, I don't want to have anything to do with that, unless I am helping that dog. Sometimes I might show the dog to when
That
I'm
that
building
that's
when I'm
that's
building
typically what you
rapport.
do in tracking. In tracking, that's
Yeah,
what you do,
totally.
right? You
It's
let the
like,
dog stumble. Yeah,
yeah,
he just stumble.
but when I'm building relationship with that dog, I might be like, hey, and I'm not telling them any command or anything. I'm just going to show interest. And when the dog shows interest, I'm going to show that the dog, hey, there's a reward right there. It's been discarded. I'm walking away. It's yours.
Hmm.
I'm not giving the dog a reward. I'm saying, hey, look what I stumbled upon. I'm a good
It's
dude. You
yours.
can trust me. It's yours. Right? Oh my goodness, there's another one over here. It's yours. Good job, buddy. And the dog's like, oh, this guy is not so bad.
I
You
tell
know?
people, don't be afraid to clown around your dogs. Be the best clown because your dog needs that kind of assistance in the formative stage.
Yeah, formative, like
Yeah, yeah,
formative years, right? And the dog
yeah.
goofs around as a clown themselves. I look at the dogs, they're being so silly, rubbing their butt up in the air, their cheek is on the ground, they're running around, and makes me laugh, right? And so let's try to and the dog can laugh too. You know that dogs laugh. We've recorded the dog laughter.
How does it look?
That's what it sounds like.
Okay. Now you're making it up.
No, I swear. Let's go. I'm gonna go and dog laughter recording.
Was it your dog?
No, it
Did you
is.
provide the background vocals?
Well, what they do now is today I learned that dogs laugh. Here, let's see. Do dogs laugh? We're gonna share the screen here.
You're Googling.
I did Google. So animals make laugh-like sounds when they are tickled or playing. And this was a while ago, you guys. This is 2009. It says that in his book, Man Meets Dogs, Lauren describes an invitation to play always follows. There's a slight
I
opening
can't
of
see.
jaw, which reveals the tongue, tilted angle of the mouth, ear-to-ear impression of a smile or laugh, and it is panting, identified as human laughter. Many have suggested dogs laugh. The idea of animals laugh had already been suggested, and earlier scientist Charles Darwin started the ball rolling in his book, The Expression of Emotion in Man and Animals, published in 1872. He noticed that chimpanzees and other great apes produced a laugh-like sound when they were tickled or playing. And then Jane Goodall talks about that as well. Let me see. There is a recording of the laughter that they postulate but it also is, and this is the laughter removal. But what they did was what?
Sorry, just continue.
No, I said that. So they took the recording of this laughter and then they played it in these shelters these dog shelters here.
What would be the biological function of a dog laughing?
To diffuse, to build rapport, maybe, I don't know, because they are social animals. There's a degree of communication that needs to happen with the society that they form, and just like
But they do
correction,
already have, but they do already have other established patterns of
of banter and
demonstrating,
play.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, the play,
absolutely.
the jump, the
It might
skill,
be
the licking, and the
it might be an absolute, but it's also a tonation thing that they do too. You know, the tonation and the sounds that they make, and it could absolutely be an anthropomorphication aspect of it. So um it could be
why do
100% fallacy, you
why
know.
do yeah why do I believe that you ghost wrote that article?
Did I go through it?
No, no, ghost right,
Oh no, I
ghost
did
right.
not. I wish. I should though. Oh my goodness, I could be like, oh, dogs are magical, you know, they but there's so many. I mean, it's a contemplation, you know. But I remember they did this where they played this sound for these dogs that were very anxious, and the dogs calmed down right away, you know. But who knows? It could be much more body. We need a much larger body of data. Bill will be amazed at the
Yes,
way the
yes.
street dogs
You're right.
negotiate vehicle. Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
By
Oh,
burying
just survivors,
carcasses,
just
bones are
survivors.
essentially creating natural
Natural
refrigerators for us.
refrigeration.
Yeah, I love that. The dirt prevented other creatures from smelling, finding their bounty, maintains freshness longer by keeping away from sunlight, and also marinated food with the taste of earth.
Oh,
All
that's a
right.
new interpretation. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
new.
I love it. Where's emoji for self-ass licking when I need one? All right, let's see. I like this.
Not gonna
Not good
opine.
on the subject of living in the moment versus burning food against scarcity of the future, much less give the pretense of the answer. Rather recognize you all are talking us all smarter. Yep. And that's it. It's like just contemplating, man. Just like looking, using both sides of our brain, right? Not just the logical, but also going to the emotional, and like it's back and forth. And this is how, you know, we form concepts, like by bringing our perceptions to the table, and as my percept comes and your percept, and then we form concepts. We start to get an idea of not just a pattern, but also once we understand patterns, we can take the understanding of the pattern further and tap into the actual principle when we start to really understand, and that's where I hope that we can get. The other side of instinct is Barry thinks has nothing to do with fear of starvation or protecting their food from
Nothing
predators.
to do with.
If you're over generously with your pooch in terms of toys, treats, burying them as a way for saying, "Cool, I'll save this." And you know what? There's certain toys that
So
these
all
guys
this,
will
so all
bury
no, but
too. You
so
know?
all these interpretations, they fly in the face of the theory that dogs live in the moment because they believe there's a tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but I think they live to a moment with tangents into the future. But I don't think that it's fully. I think that it's got to be rooted down into some type of survival mechanism, right? But it's like, and it's a very small aspect of their thought process, and
True.
it's like, but
Not
it's
it. It also explains why most dogs don't do that. It's only a minuscule of the dog that does it.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's
And,
not a generic trait. It's not a generic trait.
well, and I think that also that it also becomes like and this is just me thinking out loud, like sometimes I think that dogs just have this inherent type of behavior, and they might not know necessarily why behind it. They're just doing it. And what I say is like this fish. I remember this fish that people were like, "Oh, the dog is keeping the fish alive," because the
Why?
dog kept on flinging water on it with his
Yeah,
nose.
yeah,
But I know that
yeah.
that dog is trying to bury that fish. That's what I thought. Like the fish is out here, and the dog sees value in this fish, but there's nothing to bury it with. So he's trying to use this water to kind of hide the fish, so that he can utilize the value that he just or that he just stumbled upon, right? Where
Or
everybody.
or playing.
Or could be play too, like this is fun, and like this is
Yeah.
interesting thing, right? And I'm just engaging with this, I'm interacting with this new stimulus. and the dog might not know, right? And just expect.
How just dogs keep knocking down this standalone object, you just keep knocking down and things pops up.
Experimentation, right? They start to
Yes.
experiment to realize a pattern. There we go. So let's see. Our black dog was a reason I invented Spleesh. Yes, that's a Thai ridge. Okay, there we go. So they were talking to him, to her, I guess. Your dog is bored, lonely, or simply wants to pay attention. It's uncommon for them to bury things to get you to play with them. Not uncommon. Oh, okay. Like, and that's the other thing too, is like we have to teach our dogs fetch, but we don't have to teach them keep away. Like they know keep away right away, like intrinsically. Like I could put a toy behind me or whatever. Are you holding your phone? Is that
Me?
what you're?
No.
Oh, okay. It looked like your arm was out there. I was like,
no, I'm resting on the crate.
Oh yeah, you're good.
There's a playpen next to me.
And so like if I see a dog has something of value, I'll grab it from them and put it behind me, shove them away, and they're like, oh, it's on.
I want that.
I want that, And then I start to, and then they might just lay there and look at me, and then I'll start to sneak away from it. And then you can see the threshold of how far I get away from that the dog is like, pounces on it, right? And so that's another way that I can map a threshold for a dog too, of like, how far do I get away that this dog feels confident enough to get this item and take it back, right? And so I think that might be an aspect of that berry and just that keep away. And it all boils down to, like I was saying.
Did we just freeze?
No, we're good. It did for a little bit, but we're good. But and what I was saying about being possessive.
Yeah, I'm here.
You're good. It just comes in and out, but it pops. And that's what I was saying about being possessive, about resources, that it just boils down to that possessiveness, and that keep away aspect is a good example of that. Let me see. I remember her, the sleepiest and laziest puppy. That's what we were talking about. Yeah. And then beautiful Weimaraner Kashi. And it's full Weimaraner, not half lab, half Weimaraner.
It's full. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people complimented on my dog's size. That's a really big dog, and I had a hard time convincing them that I'm a small guy and the dog is just average.
Yep, that's what I was like. Oh, okay, makes sense now. Let's see. All cute, toothless puppies. Nothing but the dog and me. Bow wow, yippee. Sometimes they might bury items because they're too good to eat them all at once. Yeah, very high value. I call it dog money. High value. Have a good day. Teresa's got to go. Oh, man, we're almost to the end of the comments here. Her dog is half Weimaraner, half lab. That's her dog.
I should check that out.
Yep, there you go.
But that will be quite an intense spray drive in that dog, with lab and a Weimaraner mix.
Well, it depends on the lab, because there's the English lab, which are totally mellow, big heads. But when they brought the lab to America, we bred pointing and flushing into them. And so we have a much more stronger temperament lab here in America than they do in England. So it depends on the lab. I really like English labs for families and people that aren't doing much work with their dogs. They seem to enjoy those. So fantastic spring, new subby here, and I smashed the like. Thank you guys. Sub to my YouTube channel and smash that like button and hit the bell icon so you know when I do these live streams. And that's it. Working line labs. Fun fact: dog being walked by men 4 times likely to threaten and bite other dogs. Dogs on a leash. That's what because of the fight or flight response, the dog is being tethered. The dog doesn't feel like they have 100% of control of their actions. And if they do not have an advocate for them, they're going to become that which they seek, right? So work your dogs, make sure they trust you, and working line labs. There we go. We got through all the comments, man. So far, we got more comments coming, but I want to show people too what you're doing here. So before I want to go on to some of these videos that I was watching of yours, and especially the one of the dog, I definitely want to the dog walking around that you're walking around. And
which one?
In the crate.
Which one got your attention? Let's see.
The one in here. I have to go here. Where it's a box feeding, and I think it's a rat
That's my
terrier.
favorite activity of all the day. I do that with
Why?
all my dogs.
Why do you do that?
I think, okay, for me, it's the most simplest way to teach the dog the meaning of focus and resilience without really making it go through the process. If a dog can maintain a focus on an object in anticipation of a reward, build resilience in face of pressure, I mean, you kind of pretty much built a strong foundation in a dog. He learns very quickly the meaning of negative punishment when he refuses to eat from the box. How do you teach a pup negative reinforcement? Negative punishment. How do you teach it to a pup? All
To a
you ask him
pup?
is to eat.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. All,
yeah.
yeah, all that you ask is eat from the box. And if he doesn't want to eat, all right, maybe you just don't like things coming easy to you. It's the most simplest thing that I found and huge success with all my dogs. All my dogs have undergone it's like a ritualistic program in all my. I said feed, box feed, box feed.
So is that a stick you put in there?
Sometimes, oh yeah. Sometimes I take it to absurd level. Like, yeah, this is an absurd level. You don't need to do this.
I love it.
But I
No,
just
I
did
love
that.
this
Yeah,
level.
but I
No,
just did that.
this is what I love, man. And the
Yeah,
reason I love it is because it's going to
yeah,
show the dog that your whole world is going to come up from underneath you,
yeah,
and you can
yeah,
still trust it, right? You can still trust and
yeah.
know. I love
He
this.
is like, yeah. Can you believe I adopted him at the age of 10 months because the family couldn't handle him? They gave it to me.
Oh, I can believe that with these types of dogs, man.
So
These dogs can
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah,
high maintenance if you don't know what you're doing. But look at what he's doing, and look at that confidence. Look at that tail up, and let
yeah,
the dog
yeah,
do.
yeah,
Notice that,
yeah,
and the dog
yeah.
comes and flings
He's
open that door, gets in there, and boom, locks in right away. Now you have that container. I assume that you have some treats in that container or some food that in that white container right above, right
no,
below.
not in the beginning. Not yeah. There was an article. There's an article in the container. The
Okay.
food is on top of the crate. You can see that. So I
Yes.
occasionally do feed him once in a while. But right
Yeah.
now he's indicating on an article. Yeah. Yeah. And
And
just
even though we
I'm
have,
amazed with the balance that he holds.
it's very cool, man.
Is it me or is it screaming? Is it screaming clear?
It's clear. We can see it just
It's
fine.
it's clear.
Little choppy for you. Yeah.
It's my network. Yeah.
Everybody, let us know in the comments if you can see this clearly. And I love
It's
that you jump
choppy
up
or
under
yeah,
the.
it's screaming clear.
Yeah, it's streaming clear for us. But I love how you go back and forth, and then you go up. So you just dropped a piece of food there. It's clear. The comments say it's clear. Way to
Yeah.
go,
You
Cooper.
need to do an intermittent reinforcement once in a while to keep.
Way to go,
Cooper.
Cooper.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, we can see.
It's amazing when people know my dog's names. You know, I feel really proud that they know my dog's name first and then they know me. Yeah, it's nothing makes me more prouder.
Dude, I love that it's like normalized for people to know. Like, I'll walk up to somebody, I'll be like, "What's your dog's name?" And I never ever ask their name, but I know their
Name.
dog. Dude. I could care
My
less about
phone
the
list has
human.
that. My phone list has the dog name and the owner's name. Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah, look at this. Yeah,
Well,
this is look at that. Yeah. It's like
that's fantastic. But
he owns the box. This guy, he owns the box.
that's absolutely, he owns that box, and that is one of the reasons why we're talking today, man. Is this box and what you're doing here, And let's see what else we have here. Well, here, let me. I don't know why, but we got some weird
That's
guy
not me.
talking on it.
That's a
No,
homeless
I
guy.
know it was some Facebook thing, but let me see. I
That's
want to
not.
do another one here. I want to just look at some of these videos here. We also have, you know what? I love this one too, man. So I want to get this one here.
What is that?
So this one is another box feeding video, and I think that this is one of the with the pup that you have next to you there. But what I like about this one here
Yes.
is, let me share the screen here again. Chrome tab, share. Hold on, let me
You are
start.
on Bill Church's page, sleeping. Yeah.
Here we go. Now, this what I like about this is that right there.
Yeah. 5-month puppy. It's a 5-month puppy. Greedy for food.
And then this is, so watch the dog when you drop that food next to the box. I want you to watch that
The
dog's
box.
head. Okay. Love it.
It's also timing. People, you can. The box training. It's a fundamentally, it's an easy exercise if you get your timing right.
That's right.
You must not let the dog struggle too much. Keep the hope alive, and then reinforce those intermittent periods of struggle.
Well, know
There's
that
no
she
reason why
has
the dog would
a
want to
couple
lose
kibbles
focus.
right here too, you know.
Yeah.
Love it.
No, I can do this with much more. I mean, she's kind of figured out by now that her advantage lies in focusing on the article. So,
I love it.
like I said again, it's very easy to teach this to pups if you just know how to do it, and it's all about timing. It's really not about the box, because essentially after a month the box must go away. You can't forever train inside the box.
Yeah, it's a tool, right? It's a tool that get us to a
Yeah, it's a
certain
tool.
point.
Yeah.
Once we're at that point, it needs to
Yeah.
go away. It needs to become progressively unnecessary.
Yeah. I tell everybody, it's not, box feeding begins with food in the box, but it ends with behavior in the box. It's never about eating from the box anymore.
No,
It looks
it's
like
about
that, but it's
building
not
that
that.
focus.
Yeah.
It's about building a focus and building the intensity on the article, because and letting that dog realize that they keep their head in that box. And keep them in there, and be aware and discern and know, hey, look, this is what we call a duration command, meaning that once this is been given, then you just stay there until you be given the release for this, right?
Release.
Keep it simple, super simple. And not only that, but you built your own training wheel here, or your own scent wheel, and I think I have a video with that. And that's where we're going to be talking with Pat Nolan, who's one of the best in the scent or nose work world. But let's look here. So we're going to be looking at 2 different scents, I think, here.
Yeah, so this is something that Bart asked me to try it out. And I was just training with one scent at all given points of time, and Bart called me up to say, unless you do with 2 odors or more than 2 odors, it's not really training anymore. It's like your dog's just following one scent. Yes. He must learn how to discriminate.
That's right.
So here I'm using 2 scents. I'm using basically 2 different spices. So of the 12 arms, 2 arms contain those 2 scents. Right now we are in the very beginning stage, but yeah, I like the way he checks out each. Even though he did fine on the first go, I wanted a stronger indication. Yeah, that's it. So I wanted a little more. I got this. I know this.
A little more push more, right?
Yeah, push more. Yeah.
Love it.
Now I put him back in the crate. So he's waiting for his reward. Then I put him back in the. So that's what Bart said. Give him a little time out. Let him process what just happened, and then he's just come out of the crate. See, this is what I'm saying with the behavior. He loves the behavior. Look at that. I have to literally drag him away from the odor.
Love it.
Yeah. He's like, okay, I got this. Okay, I said, no, you're done. Go back. Stay there. So go spin the wheel. The another arm contains the other odor. Yeah, the one with the red sticker. You can see that there's a little red sticker. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I identify. So that's the matching odor. It's difficult to handhold a camera and do all this stuff. You need to start.
You need a cameraman.
Yeah.
Well, that jar essentially becomes the box, because now we put the indicator into, so the box has just become very small, and now it's that jar. No, he's indicating on the first one.
No, yeah, he's indicating on the first one. So, and this is what Bart said.
There he goes.
There's no problem. Let him wait it out. Yeah.
There we go. Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic. Yep. Yeah. Let the dog do. That's what Bart would say. Let the dog do, Bill. No,
let the dog do.
I could totally see if I was right there and I would start to walk forward, Bart would lift up his hand.
Yeah.
And be like, no, do not move. Let the dog do. Let the dog finish it out.
It's the hardest thing to do in the nose work is not to help.
Yes, yes.
And once you understand that, oh, it becomes easier because dogs are very quick to look out for any assistance. I mean, they're quite happy when you help them out,
Well, now what's happening?
but they're happiest when they start. Hi, Derek. Derek had an interesting point on the scent wheel. He said your dog is doing a good job because every time you spin the wheel, there is a spooling effect that's taking place. So the odor is also traveling, and if the
Yes,
dog is really pushing through all that spooling effect and going back to the source, it means that your dog's doing an even better job than you think it is.
yes.
It never
You,
occurred to me, but he's right.
well, we
Thank you,
think about
Derek.
that stuff in search and rescue. Like the first thing
Yes,
that we do with search and rescue is we go and we look at the lay of the land, and then we look at the wind patterns, right? And then
yes,
we
yes.
know where scent will gather based on that information. So we're going to
And
go
rise.
along the ridges of the hills first because that's where the wind is coming up, and then going to be putting that scent somewhere. And then once that dog gets the residuals, that's absolutely correct. And not only that, but even with the bloodhounds, what we'll do is we'll put them in a stadium seat where somebody will have go to a stadium with all these people, and we want the dog to find the seat that this person was sitting in, and it's because of the
Yes.
residuals. And not only that, but we'll do it 2-3 days later and it's had a rainstorm and the dog will still find the seat that this person was sitting in. The way that the dogs see it on a molecular level with their nose is divine. It is amazing. And it's basically you got a little fly
Yeah.
bothering you, but that's fascinating, absolutely. And this is what watching the dog with that nose, man, oof, it does something to my soul. Like that's what I'm all about. You just sit there in awe and watch this unfold. And I've watched dogs, Ravi, where I've sent them out and I know where the person went because I sent the person out for man trailing. We're man trailing, so the dog is going to trail the man and find them. And if you
Yes.
ever do man trailing with your dog, let them find you. Don't help them. Let them use their nose. They're going to run by you 5-6 times using their eyes. They're not going to see you. Make them use their nose. Once they use their nose, boom, they're going to find you right away.
This is this
Realize
is
that.
why this is why of course I don't do man trailing, but this is why I push my Cooper into blindfold tracking.
Mm. Let's watch that one too.
Oh, you got that, yeah.
Yeah, you sent that one to me. So I definitely want to set this one. So let's talk about this. So Cooper had a busy day, eyes wide shut. That's so funny. Here, I need to.
Yeah.
It posts it up into another
Tom
browser.
Cruise movie.
Yeah, crazy
Yeah, Tom
movie.
Cruise movie.
Crazy movie about the elite and
Yeah,
how
Nico.
people, when you have so much money,
Yeah,
you have these crazy orgies
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait someday. I'll be there someday. I'm gonna wear a big mask and
Not before you learn how to lick your own ass.
it'll probably come first. It'll probably come way before I'm at one of those parties, man. I'll be give everybody a nice mental picture up there. So here, let's watch Cooper before we start. Share screen, and here he is.
Yeah, this is like my all-time favorite videos. Yeah, he tracks down about 5-7 items
Okay, cool. Yeah,
continuously. Yeah. So a lot of people ask me, why do I do that? I I try to answer like, why not? I mean, dogs were born blind, right? They
yes.
navigate using their noses, and they're not incapable of just using their nose alone. It's just that we refuse them that exploration. Okay, so it's a track laid on by my feet, so he's tracking my footprints,
Ground
and
discrepancy.
yeah, there are some coins, there are nails buried in the ground. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful.
So it's a little nail that was buried. So
We do this with bullet casings. With bullet
I don't have access to that, but yeah, I would love to do something like that. In fact, there's a video of Cooper where I get him to track on the same track where a bitch in heat has urinated. So the challenge was, would he ignore the urine and then go past it and also then lay on the track, indicate on the.
And did he pass?
So that was an interesting experiment. Yeah. There's a video of that. In fact, we did it 3 times in 3 days because a bitch in heat was at my farm. A friend had brought her, and I said, okay, let's get this bitch to urinate wherever we lay the track. So wherever the bitch urinated, we went and laid a track right above it, and then we got Cooper to do that.
So what was that just now that you did? Hold on, let me.
What? There are about 6 articles.
Right.
So he's just doing one after one.
What did you just do?
You mean article?
Hold on. Right there. What's that?
Okay, so that's something that I learned as a physical cue to the dog. Okay, you're done eating. Move. Start tracking again. So when you'll see that now every time in this video, when he finishes and finds the article, I tell him, okay, time to start working again. So that's just a keyword that I've built in.
Okay. That's what I.
So I just tap the ground. So it's for him to like, okay, yeah.
You got the article.
I don't want to tell the dog souk, track, and yeah.
Right.
And I just
let them
just
feel
select
that.
Tab.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an indicator to start to work.
Like dogs pick. Yeah. Like continue, not start. Continue.
Oh, continue. Yes.
So what I do. Yeah. I love how he just navigates. The only thing I need to watch out, the only reason he's on a leash is he goes so fast he can hurt himself. Like he can just hit himself in a tree, against a tree. So I need to put him on a leash when he's on a blindfold.
Well, you're taking away a pretty big tool from him, and so it makes sense that we need to tether him
Yes.
compensate
So
for that.
I need to keep him safe. Yeah, I need to keep him safe. Yeah. True.
There's the article. We can see it. Boom.
Look at that. Yeah. That is a coin.
Love it.
So I pick it up. Reward, room service, indirect
room service. Room service is what Bart says.
Yeah.
Room service. Deliver it to
Bart
your
says,
dog.
Yeah.
Because he's staying in the task. It's not. We're not click or release. We're not anything.
Yeah.
We're room service to maintain the job.
Yes.
And we bring it to you, dude. We don't need you to go anywhere. You stay right there and we will bring it to you. That's why we call it a room service, because it comes to him.
Builds stability.
Yes. Great job.
Yeah.
Kashi, this is
he's a wonderful dog.
How old is he now?
He must be 3 years old.
Oh, fantastic.
3.5. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's been ignored now with all this pups around. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, he can do this.
Sometimes I'm convinced that might be good for him too. He's amazing. Michelle says, hi, Michelle. Michelle's a wonderful makeup artist. Room service. Why are his legs spread so wide? Why do you think his legs are spread so wide?
Okay, I have no idea.
Yeah. I think that it's just a tactile, like natural thing that he's just that's just what he does. That's a lovely dog. Go Cooper. Yoga classes for Bill. I love yoga. Yoga is a big, I need to go back to yoga, but love it. Yeah, he's feeling around.
I like he's so composed. He blindfold doesn't freak him out. In fact, it's beginning to act as a cue for him to get to work. He loves it when I put the blindfold on. It's like, bring it on. I know exactly what to do. This is also something I built it from the box feeding. You see, He doesn't need his eyes because he knows his job.
That's right. They don't have, like in the box, it's essentially a blindfold.
Yeah,
right?
It is. He's blind to the distractions.
Yeah, I love that. That's why you're here, man. That's why we're talking. And not only that, but it's like, it's what I love about this is that it's an art and a science. And once you kind of get the science behind it, then it becomes a real art, because then you make it your own and you start to build the basics on ways that the dogs can express themselves. And then you start to build operant runs or different ways that that dog can learn, and to build stability, to build clarity, to build confidence, not just
And
within that dog.
that's exactly what I envy in guys like you, because you guys have gone through this entire silver and gold with the Bart and Michael. You have a structure which I can only dream of. So I'm just kind of like exploring around, watching your interviews, listening to Bart's interviews on a loop mode, but I'm so far away from what I think I should be knowing. And
No,
and
you're
to my
doing great.
bad luck, he's closed his silver school. I keep begging him every other day, do something. And he's
Well,
like, yeah.
I think that you actually, we talked to Bart. I talked to Bart about this, and I talked to him, and I said, I know you like this, Bart. I know you like people that take initiative and just kind of run with their own way, And I remember we had some people that were in the silver school that were in the army and military, and
Hmm,
they were kind of they were wanting more. They were like, well, how do you do that? And I
hmm.
could tell that Bart was getting annoyed, and it's like, you that's not for me. Like we have to take what we know and then run with it, and apply it our own way, where
Way true.
that's what you're automatically doing without even going to the school first, right? So this is the art that I'm talking about, that you become the artist, but in you becoming the artist, we also make our dog the artist. We cause our dog to be creative, right? And that's what I absolutely love about this, is that people like me, or like you, and Bart, love that you're a lawyer too. And I remember him telling me now, but because you've made your own way in the law world, right? And you've figured out how to become a success. And that's where people that have different eyes and ears from building a successful life in another industry, it's only natural for them to come into the dog world and apply what's automatically inherent within you, right? And so you're taking the dog world and taking stuff and making it your own. And I think that that's exactly what we need to be doing. That's exactly what innovation happens. That's how innovation happens. That's how, when we are too far invested in the camp of somebody else, and we kind of lose ourselves in doing so. Does that make sense?
All I can say is thank you. That was
Yeah.
a
Keep
wonderful
it up.
compliment. Yeah.
Well, just keep it up, man. Like, you're doing something, and you're listening to something that I think is almost divine, because it's coming from somewhere, but it's resounding with all of us, that we're like, oh man, this guy is onto something here. So I just want to encourage you, keep this stuff up. I'm going to go blindfold my dogs,
Yeah.
you
Let's do
know?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it. Like, let's get more of doesn't have a man buns. I don't have a man bun. No. You have a man bun. I don't, but I should put mine up, because I do. I could have one. I
You could
just
have one here.
a man down here. But just keep going, man. And that's what I want to tell people. And that's what the thing about these conversations is, like, look, like, nobody owns the keys to this. Like, we all have a part of this, and we all have something to learn from each other and something to teach each other. And even though there are big luminaries and people that are accomplished, we're still just scratching the surface, in my opinion, of what these dogs and their
Absolutely.
relationship with,
Absolutely.
you know. And it's like,
Absolutely.
we don't need permission. You just do it. And if you have something, keep going with it. Like with me, and I'm going to start videotaping this. I did it for Bart, but I did all of these boxes. So I did big box, little box, little
Yes.
box,
Let's see
little box,
that. Let's
right?
see that. You're talking
I'll
about it.
have I'll have to make a video for you, because it's actually in the barn. And that's what I want to do. Is like, I was like, oh my goodness, this is something that I know doesn't really have any application that I know of right now, except for just building focus, right? But there's might be somebody that watches me do this and take it to another level, or take and apply something else to it, right? And I want people to do that. I want them to. I want we we are in this to cooperate. We are in this to figure out not just fulfilling life with each other, but also fulfilling life with our dogs. But I'm human being, you're human being, right? And that's how we can communicate to each other. But just being open to the dog's interpretation and allowing that dog to be the expert at the end of the day is what we're doing, even though we're communicating and contemplating and talking about different things. But it's, at the end of the day, we are taking all this information, distilling it, and applying it to the relationship, our personal relationship that we have with our dog.
True, man.
And
I love to see the way you work that blindfold thing out, because I was so fascinated when I started it. I wasn't sure what is a dog thinking when you take away something that he sees the world with.
But that's the third thing that they see the world with, right? We see it first.
Yes.
We look at things and we look at all around, right? And then I try to think of like, what is some things that us as human beings, we see with our nose first? Smoke. So fire, right? If it's something smoking, hey, what's that? We don't see it, but we smell it. Shit, like we smell shit or something like that. But did somebody shit in here? Or do we have, what the hell? I smell it, but
or when you smell your ex somewhere in the vicinity, you do that, right? You walk into an unfamiliar territory and suddenly, like, I know the smell. You never forget few things. Yeah, you never forget few things.
A fart. Be like, whoever smelt it dealt it, right? But then we also have coffee in the morning, right? Or breakfast or cooking or something like that. Right now, everybody's putting up poop emojis. Nice. Listen to this, man. I had COVID. And I lost my smell. I lost my taste. And when smell came back to me, dog shit smelled like gasoline. Isn't that wild? It smelled like chemical. Like it's normal now back, but it was just so crazy how.
So we can use you to discover oil.
Well,
if
not
you
anymore.
Still have that ability.
Yeah, I wish. I wish. But then what else? So it's coffee, cigarette. Oh, gasoline. Like I was saying, gasoline. Like you smell gas, they put a scent in gas. So whether you smell it, we have a gas leak or something. I love the smell of gas. I used to like the smell of gas, but not anymore, man. I'm traumatized.
All this talk of shit. What's this? Okay, if a customer wants to your yeah. So all this talk of shit reminds me that the first time you messaged me asking, when you invited me, and that was a very generous invitation, I was actually cleaning my dog's poop. And it was like 10 in the night, and I get your message. I'm like, okay, not bad. Cleaning dog poop pays off.
There you go. And notice that's what you have to do to attract my attention, in the real world.
Cleaning poop.
I come. I'm like, hey, buddy, want to come talk to me? What does this say? Paisa
hai, paisa hoga. If you have money, you'll have money. Yes, it's just a Hindi word.
Yeah.
It's like money breeds money. Yeah.
Paisa hoga.
Oh, you got that right.
There we go.
A couple more sentences, you can just walk through the immigration. I'm an Indian coming back.
What is with the head? Like I see people in India talk, and is this,
I agree. Okay.
So it's like this with us, like, oh, okay, yeah. Okay, it's like, okay.
It's just like, okay, I'm listening. I'm in with you. I'm not spaced out.
Fantastic.
But this is a no. Yeah. Yes.
So what do you want to do with the dog training world? Where do you see yourself in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now?
Right now, I'm just writing down. I'm making journals of all information that I gather. I do have a couple of people who sign up for my online classes, and I just use this information to put it out in a structure and to educate them. Right now, I don't see myself as a primary source of business, and I don't think I ever will. Like I said again, we are 10 years behind US or any other country in terms of dog training, accepting dog training as a respectable skill. I must tell you this. Ever since I started posting more and more videos of my dog training, I had to make a conscious effort to block all my professional friends from my Facebook contacts. I didn't want them knowing what I'm doing because, like I said again, it's not a glamorous. I mean, like if I was playing polo, if I was playing snooker, or let's say I was doing maybe whatever, like a polo, like a golf. Yeah, people would be happy and people would want to join me. But dog training, you know, it's not elitist, and because it's not elitist, people tend to look down upon the skill that also goes with it, and it's as beautiful skill as a scientist.
You better
It's
believe
as
it.
beautiful skill, yeah, as a lawyer. I mean, I'm talking to animals, I'm getting animals to do what I want, and yet it doesn't get the respect it deserves.
Yeah,
So even the money that you make as dog trainers in India are not very good, which is why I constantly admire my friends for sticking it in and staying true to what they want. While I have to live this dual personality. I'm like a lawyer in the day and a dog trainer in the night.
superhero at
Yeah.
night.
Yeah, not superhero. Yeah. So today my Facebook has no lawyer friends. Has no lawyer friends. I blocked them all out.
You're okay. I think that's a good idea. No, just kidding.
Yeah, yeah,
People look at makeup artists the same way. Well, and same thing
yeah.
with me, with the glass art and the cannabis and all this. Like I was, and I mean, and in the fish world too. Like I have fish. I have a fish business. I breed tropical fish. People don't know at all about that, you know.
Oh, it's very
And I'm,
fishy, huh?
yeah, very fishy. Angel fish, and I call it Billy's Angels, like Charlie's Angels, but Billy's Angels. So I'm building a site, but it's just something that I do in the pastime. But I'm also I love studying and I love learning, and I read books. Like right now, I'm reading this book,
What are you reading?
rethinking neural networks, quantum field, and biological data.
Okay, okay.
It's fantastic.
That's heavy. That's heavy. That's
Absolutely.
heavy.
But it takes me, because it's basically we're looking at Schrodinger equations and stuff like that, but we're breaking them down into actual variables and
What
different.
is that? Yeah.
It just
Oh,
basically
that's
means it's basically like an abstract idea of how to realize how it's a term of it's a form of epigenetics, where the above genetics, or how the quantum and how the biological fields influence our neural networks. It's not just genetics. It's we are a marvel. We are this technological biological marvel that has these autotomic functions, the cybernetic mechanisms that keep our body in homeostasis and keep all of our regulatory functions operating accordingly. But we also have a neural network, a comfort zone based on experiences, right? And that's what we call the comfort zone. But once we start to delve out of that comfort zone, immediately we get a reaction: doubts, fears, anxieties flooding the body, right? And it's autotomic because it's meant to keep you safe, meant to keep you aware in this new environment that you've never experienced, because there could be predation, there could be chaos, there could be something that you need to know about. So we're keeping it hyper aware and focused. And what goes into building these neural networks, and I think that there's also many different forms that we're not even aware of influences that affect us, right? And the more technology that we have, the more that we're going to uncover the different influences of behavior, not just in human being. And if it's affecting behavior in human being, then it's absolutely affecting behavior in other animals as well. And I want to get to the bottom of that. It's just I'm fascinated by it.
This is how I look when I don't understand what you just said.
Good to know.
I'm like,
I don't understand what I just said either, man. So we're right there. I'm learning though.
I'm like, no, but it's
Keep it up,
that's a lot of investment, man. I mean, that's no. I was never much of a science student.
And I also have like rocks and minerals. I love to go out and hike
Oh,
and
that's your aquarium business.
Yeah. This is no. This is not aquarium. This is just rocks. Like,
Okay.
I have hiking, and I'm a rock hound. I just like what I like, man. And it's a little different, but yeah, it's,
These are my scars from rock climbing.
are they?
Yeah,
Yeah, there
yeah,
you go.
yeah. Yeah,
I
I've
love it.
broken my thumbs and everything. I stopped doing that, yeah, for a long time back. That's my association with
I
rocks.
used,
Yeah,
was
has
doing
it ever
surgery. A
occurred to you that ever
dermatologist.
since you've started holding dogs? Sorry, I'm happy. Okay.
What's it?
I was asking you a question, Bill. Has it ever occurred to you that ever since you started having more dogs, you seem to prioritize what you really love the most, but also do you regret what would engage you otherwise? Like I'm sure you do much other co-curricular activities that you don't have the time to do it now. And do you feel a tinge of regret? Because I feel it once in a while. Like I feel like I've surrendered my whole life to the dogs when I'm not practicing law, and there's nothing else. Like it's just this or that. I'm physically incapable of doing
Sometimes.
anything else right now. Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes I do,
This
but
is
then
why I think.
I reflect and I look back. I just have too many dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
need to
think it wasn't
dwindle
it
it down.
Part who said just have not don't have more than 2 dogs.
Yeah, he says to me one. He
I
says
think
you
he
should
told
have
somebody 2.
one dog, and
Yeah,
that's it, man. And I think I'm gonna
yeah.
follow him, and yeah. I mean, here's a financial freedom gave me a lot of perspective in the dog training world. Yeah, and people don't realize this, but my wife last year, about 17 months ago, got diagnosed with cancer,
Yeah, I read about
and
that.
yeah, and so I took the year off. So I quit. And that's where, like, this financial freedom that allowed me to do that, because I was smart with my finances. I love my past self. My past self made some wonderful decisions, and I love him for that. But that is another
Yeah.
aspect of this, is being financially free, because the finances is a big motivator in this world. And sometimes people will trade their life to do things that they don't want to do to get that mighty dollar.
For
And I'm
the
very
rest of the life.
fortunate. Right.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
but that's where I was able to take the year off to be with my wife. And so the regret,
So happy.
go away, because now I can go to what's important to me. But now that I'm flying back into the dog training, I'm still very passionate about the dogs. And just like an arrow, you know how an arrow flies to a target, right? I have a target, and my goal is to put a dent in dogs being euthanized every year and children being bit. So I have a dogs being euthanized and children being bit. I'm always watching those numbers and making sure, as long as we have them still at this level, I still have a lot of work to do. But once we see a significant decline in dogs being euthanized and children being bit, that's where I know that my work is starting to take hold. And so I have a goal. A lot of times people are very passionate about the path that they're on, but they have no goal. And so that is my goal. And I know it's an impossible goal sometimes, but I keep my eye on the big prize. And all I do is like have these conversations. And I remember somebody came up to me before I started doing these interviews again, and they told me, "Hey, look, man, everybody I've learned from in the dog world, I've watched on your interviews." Like, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I got to start doing this again, because there's shysters out there. There's people out there that will take advantage of you in the dog world." And to, like we were saying, like just like with evil people or whatever, there's predators out there. To not know about them is an advantage to the predator, is an advantage to the shyster. And so I want to show people good people, and not only the good people, but also how authentic people talk about this stuff, and how we're open with information, and we're really earnestly interested in the work that we're all doing, so that we can apply it to make the lives of the dogs that we work with better, right? And so that's why I do this. And just like when I took the time off, and just like with an arrow, before an arrow flies, you have to pull it back.
Yes.
And so I pulled
The
myself
harder you
away.
pull,
Right. I pulled myself away from the industry for a year. And now that I'm back in it, man, I feel like I've let that arrow go, and I am flying, and there's no stopping me. And I have a goal of 500 of these interviews with different dog trainers, and
how many? How many so far?
130.
Wow, wow. And it's not just 130. It's voluminous encyclopedia of information for people who are willing to listen.
Yes, and not only that, but
It's
the
amazing.
people will pick up, and the message will come to them. They'll hear
Yes.
whatever they need to hear, just like I hear. And you know what I say? I call it synchro mystic, because it's too this is too coincidental. Like, this is something that I need to hear right now. This is not just synchronistic, but synchro mystic, because it's like you feel it in your soul. Like, I need to hear this. And not only that, I just heard it from the radio or something. The universe is kind of winking at me, saying, hey, pay attention to this. And in order to do that, you need to have your brain like correlated with that message. Like, you need to have that brain where it's kind of always on the lookout for that. And we call it reticular activator. We call it a reticular activator system. So if you an example of a reticular activator in effect is that if you drive a car, you buy a brand new car, and now you drive it on the road, guess which car you're going to notice now?
Your cars.
Your car. It's the same car that you have. You're going to notice now every single car that's driving around, and that's your reticular activator kind of putting that into focus into you, because it aligns with your
There is also another, how do you say that? Reticular, how do you say that?
Reticular activator.
Reticular activator. Yeah. So there is another reticular activator. When you buy a new car and you drive on the road, you think everyone's coming closer to scratch your car. Does that occur to you?
Yeah,
it's like, why is everyone so close to me?
Yeah, well, because you're protective, right? Self-protective. Yeah. And I think that is more, it is also, that is a function of the reticular activator, but it's also a function of our comfort system, right? To keep this. And a reticular formation is a diffuse network of nerve pathways in the brain stem connected to the spinal column, cerebrum and cerebellum, and it's mediating the overall level of consciousness. And so it's everywhere. In fact, let me show you, if I can, a good picture of this reticular activating system, just so you can get a good idea of what this looks like. Here, let me.
Do you often forget you're a human being when you're speaking so many science words? No. Does it look to you like is it like a book? Is this a book talking?
My God. So this is it, the reticular activator system, also known as the RAS, right? And see, look at this. Boom, it goes into every part of our brain, you guys. So we have visual impulses coming in, going down, reticular formation coming back in, and then we have the audio impulses coming in as well, right? And then we have the reticular formation, ascending sensory tracts, pain, touch, temperature, right? And so whenever the fight or flight mechanism is enacted, we're not going to sit there and be like, you know what, I contemplate about life right now. No, we're like, what the hell is going on? We're about ready to fly out of there, right? And so now pain, touch, and temperature have come to the foreground, where contemplation and emotion has come to the background, right? And so now we have become essentially like a soldier, a fight or flight. Like, extremities are where the energy is going to go to make sure that we're safe.
It's like it's also something like, what does a motivator do to you? It makes you do something or run away from something.
Yep. All learning requires the least minimal amount of arousal in order to attend, concentrate, remember, and put learning into memory storage. The ability to regulate emotion, which often feeds into behavioral issues, often depends on sufficient levels of cortisol arousal, inhibit impulses, and to control strong emotions. Under-aroused children tend to be fussy, irritable, difficult to manage, and are unavailable for learning. Same thing with dogs, and that's it. And also one of the biggest influences of the reticular activator system is sleep.
What happens when you sleep?
Our sleep loss for a child is like a grade level drop for every hour lost. And their cognitive abilities, all this stuff
comes down. Yes,
that's right.
Yes.
And that's why it's very important for sleep to happen. And what happens with sleep is the neural networks start to really gain fold. That's right. start to
True.
turn into from dirt paths into 8-lane highways, right? And so,
I read a little bit about that on the talent code. There are some
yeah,
references in the talent code. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then I mean, I go with the talent code. I go so like I have 10 other books that I want Michael and Bart to read and or to include into the curriculum.
Espouse.
Right. Well, and one of them is called Deep Work: How to Focus in a Distracted World. I got to put it up in the comments here. Deep Work: How to Focus in a Distracted World. Right. And it talks about how to get into what we call the zone, the learning zone. And we call it the flow, right? Like you get into flow state. And I get into flow state with the dogs when I'm working with the dogs. But it talks about how to get into that flow state and how to maintain that flow state, especially when we have so many distractions in this world, right? And with all of these conveniences that we have, a lot of times it causes more distractions. Oh my gosh, it's #1 bestseller in time management. Deep Work is what it is. Deep Work: How to Focus. Rules for Focus in a Distracted World. And by
who's the author?
Cal Newport. Okay. Let me see here. But this is excellent. And it talks about Carl Jung and what he would do. So basically, master one of our economy's most skilled, achieve groundbreaking results, exciting audiobook. Deep Work is the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. It's a skill that you to quickly master complicated information and produce better results in less time. Deep Work will make you better at what you do and provide the sense of true fulfillment that comes from craftsmanship. Right? People come out there and they watch me blow glass, and it's boring to them because they don't know that every turn of that glass has a meaning to me, right? And it talks about watching a blacksmith, and to them, this guy just pounded the metal 200 times and it's boring. To that,
but every pound changed it. Yeah,
every pound has meaning. Every single pound has meaning when you're in deep work. But to the people on the outside, they don't understand, and it's not for them to understand. And the other aspect of it is like looking at sleep patterns too, and that's another book that I recommend is these sleeping books that we're starting to understand a different, like the sleep schedule is in these little packets, 90-minute packets, like where you go through this cycle. You go down from alpha, beta, delta down to theta, and then back up, right? And there's this cycle that happens that allows your body to get down to the REM cycle, discharge whatever energetic or thought patterns, and of course the regulatory systems of our body allows that to take hold and to clean us out or free us of radicals or oxidants. But it's also very important. I lost my train of thought there for a second. That the work cycle is very, very similar to the sleep cycle. It's a 90-minute window, and that we cycle. You start to focus, and then you get deep into that focus, and then you start to come back out. Like, it's very interesting to see, and that we lose track of time. But then you come back out of it, and you need to kind of shake it loose and do something else before we get back into that focus.
I'm going to use a blacksmith analogy. I think you kind of hit I'm going to use a blacksmith analogy. It's a very powerful analogy for driving home the point. Every pound matters, even when each pound don't make a difference.
Every pound has meaning. Every pound has meaning, and every pound is purposeful, and every pound is with intent.
With intent, yeah.
But the other thing is that we have our eye on the big prize, and until we're there, we keep working towards that, right? And to not get frustrated with the process, and to understand that it actually is the process, not the destination, but the journey, where the strength, the lessons lie, and where we become better and more understanding and knowledgeable individuals, right?
How do you contrast If journey, if what matters is the journey, then why are we talking about efficacy all the time? How quickly can we get to this? But I remember in one of your earlier interviews, you spoke about that you don't spend time too much time either luring or free shaping because you try and get to the behavior faster. Because once you're skilled, you got to do that. How would you contrast that with journeys should also matter?
Oh, just knowing that, look, the goal, we're not at the summit yet. Like the summit is still way far away, and the summit is impossible. But we celebrate every single goal and every single achievement on the way to that summit.
Yeah, that
Right.
that would make sense. Every small milestone is a big one
That's right.
for that dog.
Yeah, for that dog and for us and for our relationship. And not only that, but for others that might see the possibility and change their way by us showing them a different form of that which is, right? And I think that that's a goal of life, is to know ourselves and to raise our own consciousness, and so that others may see that is possible and follow suit, you know. And that's simple, man. We're all human beings. We've all incarnated into this form, and right. And I tell people, like, you're not Kashi, I'm not Bill. I'm infinite love and energy. I'm just having an experience in this water suit or this meat suit known. And this Bill is not me either. It's a name that I was given when I came into this form. And to not get caught up in all of that, and to realize that you are eternal, and that this is more of a lesson that we kind of learn, but also to know that we have an amazing feedback mechanism with these dogs that keep us really, really reminded of the law of nature, or the natural law of how this world really works, where you work in man's law, right? And man's law, the man-made law, is a little bit different than natural law, right? Where like a light, where people have to stop at a traffic sign, and if they don't, then they get, punished by man's law, means nothing to that dog, right? Because they're natural law. And just like we were talking about Bill watching these dogs navigate, the streets of India, right? That's the same thing. Is a perfect example of, like, these dogs that could give a crap about man's law walking around in
every law cannot be devoid of reason and logic. It exists everywhere. Otherwise, it's not law. It's not law. Why would a community of people or a herd of dogs, a group of dogs, adhere to a certain law unless that law has a meaning?
That's right.
Yeah.
So
when dogs navigate, when dogs navigate the street, they're not looking at traffic the way we look at it. There is a purpose.
There are human contraptions that are zipping around, man, to them. Yeah, that's like human things, and we're chattering monkeys, right? We have these two legs. We're very slow. We're noisy, right? But we do offer a pretty good resource for these dogs, and not only that, but some of them are very rich, very wealthy by aligning themselves with human being. The quality of life is tremendous compared to, I mean, in some aspects it's tremendous, in other aspects it's not so much, because then they're very reliant upon us, right? Where a wild dog might be independent and might find their own way, and not be reliant on a human being. So when the human being goes away, the dog's training doesn't go away with that human being, or the dog's reliance doesn't go away with that human being. There's always there's a cost and a benefit. That's right. For dogs, it's death if they don't learn to navigate through traffic, and that's a pretty big consequence, right?
Yeah, but what that consequence doesn't help them learn anything.
Nope.
So it doesn't.
But the ones that survive do, because then they're more mindful, right? And
unless are you saying that a dog can watch another dog being crushed by a vehicle and then learn?
I think so.
Do they?
I think so. I think that
can they process it in that manner?
I think so. I think that they can. I think that it definitely will evoke.
They might show fear of vehicles, but I don't think. Yeah, Derek. Yeah. Yeah.
the rickshaws or the the different
He,
things, and just
Derek, Derek can't be talking on the phone all the time if he's in India. I see him constantly in vehicles making these little small Facebook stories. You can't do that in India, man. You got to keep your eyes on the road.
you'd be like,
Yeah, he'll be like, yeah.
well, I love it, man. The same as
Yeah,
model
yeah,
behavior.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what hardship like imagine model behavior, a dog realizing, oh, and like same thing if a dog got a reward for another dog and a dog realizing that. I think that a dog would see another dog get injured or hurt and take heed of that too. It's a model behavior, an
That's
aspect of model
that's
behavior.
why in the olden days, they would tie dogs at stakes, and then they would kind of activate prey drive in each dog's and then reward the dog which shows the most intense behavior, and
Yes,
then the other pup starts imitating that behavior.
absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah.
Pretty wild,
True.
man. So what do you think, dude? How do people, if they want to take your online class, how did they do that?
Well, they just get in touch with me. I'm fairly accessible. They have my contacts on the Facebook, and yeah, it's a small thing. It's not meant to out there to make like a big impact. But yes, what I do is I try and offer structure in what I teach. I don't really teach them exercises. I don't teach them how to do it. I say, okay, here's what you need to know. Go ahead and do what you can do. Because I am perhaps the only, not the only, but I'm not a certified trainer. I have no certificates backing me up. All I have is just trial and error. There was never any errorless learning for me. It was always trial and error. So I did something, I learned, I didn't, I moved on. I just learned from not just my own experiences, but like I said again, and I say it again, I learned by listening to lots of interviews. There was even a time when I confronted Bart over his old interview, where I think Bart had said once that he doesn't train with food, and he says, "I never want the dog to. I want the dog to work for me." This is some 20 years ago, and then 2 years ago, or maybe it was a year ago, Bart was showing some videos of, okay, here's what I'm going to feed Tomiki, and I said, "But Bart, you said you don't train with food." He said, "I never said that," or I think he said he didn't say that, and then like stupid that I am, I posted this extract of his old interview and said, "This is what you said." But look, just look at the man. He's so generous.
Yes.
He Here is this young guy who knows nothing, trying to kind of provoke him, and Bart sees it as an opportunity to train me, to coach me. He says, "Kashi, 20 years down, we're all smarter." There's so much you can learn from that guy, even when you just talk to him.
I talk to him often.
Please convey my immense respect to him, and I hope to see him someday. I've never had the good fortune to meet him.
Well, he'll see that, so you can do it yourself, man. What would you say to him? Just you know what, when a pandemic hit, like here in America, everything started closing down, and I was on my way to Gold School, and they canceled all my flights, everything, and I'm like, oh man. But it's like it's also I was looking at other people saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna go to Gold School. I'm gonna cancel. I'm gonna go to the next one, la la la." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, less people,
more time
with him." And I'm like, I went and rented a car, drove 35 hours to
wow.
Yep, and then one day, and I remember sleeping in the car and finally got down there, and I was late. I had to audit the first week. But I was there, and I got to go to Gold School with Michael and Bart, and I stayed down there for a couple of weeks and just very, very just immersed myself with the knowledge and watching them work dogs, but also to they worked my dogs. I had all my dogs there, and to let them see my dogs and meet them, and it's an honor. It's an absolute honor, and I highly, highly recommend Michael and Bart and Napopo, and just the Silver School will continue. They're going to still do that. So they're going to still
yeah. I heard that. The first time I ever heard was not Bart. I heard about Michael Billen. Okay. The entire Muzzle Mania video.
Yes.
Where the Kimi, I think it's
Let's show the video of you doing that.
Yeah. I'm like, why would a dog do that? How do you make a dog do that? I still remember that video fascinated me. That video has about couple of thousand views. I believe I may have contributed about several hundred views myself, because I kept watching them on a loop. Watching slow motion. Yeah.
we geek out on that
Yeah,
stuff, man. You know, and
yeah,
that's where
yeah, yeah. This is
we're you know, it's just focus, and it's something that oh, this is such a good video too. So here, this one is a tribute to Muzzle Mania, and maybe
okay. That's my video. Huh?
yeah, let's watch the one with Michael too. So I'll pull up the one with Muzzle. What is it? Muzzle Mania, Michael Bellin.
No, I just like Muzzle Mania. That's it's the most popular video. Muzzle Mania. I think that's the first hit you get on YouTube.
Muzzle Mania. Let's see here.
Such a classy video.
No, that's not it. That was for gun, shooting a gun.
Muzzle Mania, yeah.
Muzzle Mania.
Just like Muzzle Mania and Bellin.
Oh, I got
You
it.
should
Right.
get that. Yeah, yeah.
Emo,
It's I don't know what your search results are showing up, man.
They're showing me some strange. No, it's the muzzle, like a gun muzzle. You know. There's yours. There's Michael's right here. So we'll watch Michael's first. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see that. Look at that. So much control.
And
So this is what started me off. You know, this is what kind of like I had a couple of sleepless nights just thinking about. You know, I was new to everything, so everything I saw fascinated me so much more. It's like I was like, is she saying something? Oh, look at that! Look at that! Why would a dog suffer, saying, "Put me in a muzzle, and I'm going to be happy inside a muzzle"? That kind of motivation is what. Yeah. Oof.
Look at Michael. Your smile.
Yeah. She's like, yeah. And she's just not moving. You know, it's just she's like she's letting the dog do everything. She's just like a trick machine. Do the behavior. Look at that. Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
It is absolutely amazing. Fantastic.
Such a beautiful short teaser.
Yeah,
they don't teach this, do they?
No. I mean, they'll show you, you know, this is what it's just what they show you is heart and soul, right? How do we get heart and soul out of this dog? How do we get this dog to perform where they think that it's their own idea and they do it with such gusto that it's heart and soul, right? And so when she says sit.
Oh, she's talking.
Yes, she is.
Yeah. Very soft. Very soft. Yeah.
No dancing, Munkle. No chicky chunga. That's what Bart says. Chicky chunga. No dancing around. No, you just stand there. Let the dog do, Bill. And I'm like, okay, look at that.
One of the finest videos.
Well, and let's watch yours now. Let's watch your tribute to her, okay? Because I thought that was pretty cool too.
What else do you do when you're so inspired? You
do.
Yeah, you just do it. That's my Kaiser.
And then you're doing the command of the jump.
Yes.
And then around, and then tunnel.
That's
and
a
then
tunnel.
Ready. Boom. Boom. Love it.
I love this guy.
I'll watch it again. Look at that tail. Heart and soul, baby.
Yeah. He knows what's coming.
Yep. And he's like,
I love the way he's very precise. There's no floundering around. He's not searching for a behavior. He knows what to do.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good job.
Stable. Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Cool, man. Well, let me see.
This is what happens when you're inspired.
Yep. Kaiser.
So I tell Kaiser, yeah.
Kaizen.
Kaiser, that's his name. Kaiser.
Kaiser. Do you know what Kaizen is?
Yeah, I know Kaizen. Yeah.
Yeah.
He hosted. Are you talking about Kaizen K9?
Nope. But the Kaizen, the word Kaizen, Kaizen, right? It means improvement in Japanese.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it means improvement. And it's actually a Kaizen is a philosophical approach in Japan that Toyota, Sony, Yamaha, like all these huge companies approach or they adopted. And basically what it means is that we're always improving, every single day, proven Kaizen method. Like, they like the one small step, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Right? Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching. And that's what it talks about. It's like every day we just improve. One small step. And that's the Kaizen methodology. And it's a good book too. One Small Step, I believe, is what it's called. One Small Step. But Kaizen, and it's a philosophy that is I adopt, and I think that more people would adopted it.
I also love how in these interviews you keep giving references to so many books. It's beginning like a bibliography. It's a nice reference to know what to read. Yeah. I love that.
I'm a voracious reader. I try to read at least 100 books every year.
What? Serious?
I try to. The last couple of years I haven't been successful, but I've been up in the 70s, 80s. But there's definitely books that I've read 120, 130 books. But I try to read as much as I can. And guess what? One book makes me read 10 more because of what's in the book and the references that they have in that book, and then I'm like, okay, now I need to read this, I need to read that, and need to read that. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about in that deep work, what they talk about, how to distract it, or how to work or focus in the distracted world, is the notion of multitasking. And they say you're not going to be fully engulfed in work if you think you're going to multitask. Because
say that again. You're not going to be.
Yeah, no, because you're not going to be fully focused if you think you're going to multitask, because what it does is it leaves energetic residue in different parts of your brain that don't allow you full access to that brain that you need to contemplate and to really, really get into that deep focus. And so multitasking is bullshit.
I understood. No, but this time I understood what you said. Okay. It made sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is I know it now. I got it. I got something. Yeah.
Got you.
Got you. I paid attention. Yeah.
Well, sometimes, like, if we don't understand, we read it again, or we go back and look through it again, right? And sometimes we don't have the eyes to see it yet, but we will. They say the lips of wisdom are sealed except to the ears of understanding. And so we just keep it up, keep focused, keep working, keep trying, keep striving, and we develop a better understanding.
Wow. Thank you, Bill.
My pleasure, man. Thank you. This has been great. And I would love, keep up what you're doing, and let's stay in touch. And, I'm here if you need anything, man. Like, I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you do. And I want you to continue to do it, man. And you guys, you don't need permission to do this stuff. Go out and do it. Go have fun. Go innovate with your dog. Go get inspired. Go watch videos of Kashi. Go watch videos of Michael Bellin. Go watch videos of dog trainers and see if you can reproduce what they did. Pay them tribute. That's where I think, they say imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Oh, flattery. Yeah. Never be ashamed. As long as you're imitating the best.
Yeah. Don't be ashamed. And guess what? If it looks like shit, it's okay. Because you got to look like shit before we start to look good. And you got to be okay with looking like shit. And knowing not what you do, but also be able to videotape it and send it to me. I'll tell you if you look like shit to confirm it. No, just kidding. But that's where we start, man. And I've looked like shit many times, and I look like even with my glass or anything. Like, one of my biggest glass mentors in Milan, Italy, he talked about, it's not what happens it's not about what you can create. It's about what you do when things go wrong.
Yeah.
And there is a messy middle. There's things that are going to go wrong, but you keep your wits about you, and you have a good network of resources that you can tap into. But know that, things going wrong and is part of the process. And if we can look at that as something that is good and taking advantage of that as a learning opportunity, then when things go wrong, we actually get excited instead of upset.
Yeah, they say like something like success doesn't define you as much as failure does.
That's right.
Failure defines you. Yeah.
Well, and failure is the beginning of your success.
True.
That's it. It's not the end of it. It's the beginning of it.
Yeah.
You know, fail harder. Go fail harder. Go do more. Go, you know, don't let the failure failure dissuade you. Let the failure persuade you. Let the failure motivate you. But if you have a big failure and you need some time to recuperate from it, know that there's people like us out here that will help you with that, you know. So
I heard that for the first time. Fail harder. That's the first time I heard that.
That's my favorite saying, dude. Fail harder.
Fail harder. Yeah.
You know,
that's powerful.
Do it. Yeah, go. You're like, don't, like, it's not bad to fail, man. It's actually good. Do it. Go out there, fail. Right? It's only failure if you accept it as final. That's right. It's just a stepping stone, man. And Joe Hodge, like, he's the guy. Watch his interview, you guys. He's an Army Ranger. Army Ranger is one of the hardest schools here in America that you can go through. And he went through it with 2 infected knees. He had, and then after he went through it, and he actually just suffered so much, he got into a car wreck and then got dropped from the program. And so all this work that he did and all the sacrifices, and not only that, but now his body is broken and all of his achievements have gone away, and now he's making a huge life as a dog trainer. It's not failure, man. It just builds us to bring more to the table later on, when, you know, now that we've gone through this, and now that we have the gnosis of going through it and the knowledge of the experience, and that's how we can really help other people as well. So get out there, fail harder.
I'm going to get that on my t-shirt next.
Okay.
Fail harder.
Fail harder.
Bill. What
are my other ones? Secrecy is the enemy of healing. That's one of my
Secrecy is the enemy of healing. Okay.
That's one of my my big ones.
Okay. It doesn't resonate right now, but I'm sure someday it will.
Yeah. Secrecy is the enemy. But we're not really talking about, you know, and then what else? What are some of my favorites? I don't even know. Oh, well. Well, Kashi, I'll say goodbye to you on the studio, okay? But everybody else, let's say goodbye to. Everybody share this. This was fun, man. And, you know, subscribe to the Bow Wow Bill YouTube channel. Check me out on Patreon. And message Kashi if you have any questions. And I'm looking forward to just seeing where you go with your dogs. And
thank you.
I enjoyed meeting you, man. And
I enjoyed this more than I thought I would enjoy. I was so worried about the internet. You know, we have a very sketchy internet here, and I was like, shit, but I'm so happy everything went out smooth, and absolute pleasure to listen to you talk, man. You could read a book and I would listen to you. I would pay you to read a book out.
Well, I'm going to do some meditations, and that's another aspect. I'm going to do some guided meditation. I'm working with some people with some music and stuff. So that's the other thing, is that I want to walk people through some of this meditation stuff, and just like, because you know what? I treat your body like a dog. You treat your body like a dog. You sit and stay until this meditation is done. Your body is going to sound the alarm. And especially when you're busy and you're used to work, to sit there and do nothing is going to invoke a doubt sphere's anxiety response. And you have to address your body like that dog and just be like, look, sit, stay. You're going to eat. You're going to go to the bathroom. Everything is fine. But for now, you need to stay there until we're finished. And once we're finished, then we will get all this stuff that you wanted, but you need to sacrifice this time and get into the nothing. Become nothing.
You need to come to India. With this, yeah. You'll feel right at home.
I know. I already do with so many Indian friends that I have here, you know, and they've invited me. The only bad thing is it's so hot there too. So I'm the ginger, so I get the red.
Yeah, it's 40 degrees right now. I'm sweating here. It's 40 degrees.
Yep. Where it's like, I think it's 20 degrees here. I don't know. But
yeah.
All right, Kashi. Well, say goodbye to everybody here. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Bill. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Yeah, but you stay there because I'll say goodbye to you in the studio. But everybody else, thank you.